closing out of Valheim.
Got to be able to see.
It's going to be
aliens.
at 11:15 PST, which is
some time.
bear with
Fuck knows the
me.
5 hours different. I think.
Oh, it's in about 10 minutes.
What?
Well, fuck it then. Let's postpone it. If it's 11:02 now. So.
No, that's when the live stream starts.
Oh right. Okay. Yeah. Fine. Yeah.
Because I'm on that, and it's set in 12 minutes to the live stream start, and I think it's starting an hour or two before it kicks off.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, totally. Well, I don't have loads planned for tonight. In terms of basically, I'm going to rephrase that. I have a bunch of stuff planned and ready to go, but I don't want to do too much tonight. So I plan on it being a shorter or lighter session. If we want to take a break in the middle of it, I'm more than happy to do that.
Well, even if it's just on the background.
Yeah, so that's all fine with me to either to take a break and or to finish a little earlier. It's just I've got a bunch of stuff planned that I think will be best started next session, so to speak. So I'm just kind of getting you there, because so far what you've been doing is stuff that I had planned as warm up and teaching the setting and giving you guys a sense to play around a little bit, and then I've got a lot more planned for the next few bits.
Yeah.
Show that. Right. Tabletop. Oh, I have to update it. What? What?
Ah, sucker.
See you in 3 hours.
But yeah, so it's tabletop.
Okay.
Yeah, joining now.
I just put a note in Discord about D&D, forgetting that near enough 90% of everyone who plays the game's on here anyway.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, what's up, man?
No, it's just, do you want to carry on with the current campaign, or do you want to start afresh on the new one, which I've put a lot more thought into? And by the time you have finished this and your other stuff, you'll have a lot more stuff in it as well.
Would it mean making new characters and things?
I kind of want to play the same character.
I want to play the same
Regardless of
character. I feel like the campaign that you did didn't really get started almost.
Yeah, I know. But obviously, because of how everything happened at the end of last year, I wasn't really prepared for it.
Yeah.
No, sure.
I just cobbled it together. Whereas this one that I'm making side by side at the minute is like more what I wanted to have done.
Yeah, that's fine. Well, the question,
whatever you prefer to run, because then you'll be happier running it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like,
the question that I'd ask. Sorry, yeah, go ahead, Gav.
I was just saying, I've the short Warhammer game planned for after this one.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely fine. Yeah, I'm happy to use all this time to keep adding stuff to it and stuff and getting all the story sorted.
Cool.
So what was you going to say, Jed?
The question that I'd ask then is it easy enough or is it possible for the characters that we've got now to get out of the scrape that we're in now and feed into what you wanted to run next?
No, because this one is 100 years in the past.
Okay, fine. All right.
Yeah,
cool. Right. So that's the question answered. Right.
If you're using your characters, but Sam would have to lose his guns, and we just have to figure out some other bits and bobs. But I'll probably do like a session 0 to figure it all out and create characters if we needed to.
Cool.
Might as well
Happy
make a new
to
character then.
Do another one yet?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
I'll have to try something else out. I do miss Jethro though.
No firearms.
Yeah, I know. It's. I think it's like 150 years in the past. Sorry, and firearms only came in like the last 50 years of the last war. But yeah, that's.
Yeah, no sweat. Right. Okay. Ow. Cool. Ow, you all right?
Bang my elbow on my desk.
Ow.
It wasn't that bad.
Right, cool. I'm just throwing up my notebook.
Hello, was I? I always ask this. White, wasn't I?
Yeah.
You. I don't
Yeah?
know.
Yeah. Yeah, I was next to Gex.
What, you're white?
Okay, do we have what we need? I won't ask if people have got, dice or anything on the table because I can see them.
I've got
That's
dice.
okay.
And I've got a character sheet.
Yeah, cool. You've got your sheet, got your dice. Yeah, good. Right.
Party notes up.
Cool. Okay, so we ended the last session with your journey south towards Iron continuing and perhaps moving into the last couple of stages of it. You spent the night at an inn, at a popular traveller's inn called Tanner's Roadhouse. There was this is a spot on the main road, on the major road, and it is obviously a popular spot for traveling merchants, traveling caravans, traveling those making their way through the land, through Glaive, through the Steadfast in general, spending their night here, taking in the food, picking up supplies, getting a comfy night's sleep as they passed through and chose
Throwing
to
chairs
pass.
at people.
Yeah, that happened, definitely. Blowing off some steam.
I didn't throw the chair.
All right,
I kept holding on to it. Come on now.
hitting people with chairs.
Yeah, more accurate.
And you chose to stop at Tanner's rather than diverting, for example, into the nearby village of Harlstead, where you were invited by some of the locals, or passing on through.
Locals.
You began the next morning, waking up at Tanner's and continuing down on the main road. You've made very good pace over the last couple of days. Moving out of Arilla and not having encountered any sign of anyone who might be aware of your job, might be aware of your mission, or really have any connection with the drama that you will have faced between the tribal groups that were present in Arilla that you are, tangentially tangled up in. So far at least. And then moving out past Tanner's, the countryside, you are drawing closer to the hills that form a kind of southern band around the lower parts of Iron, or north of Iron. There are larger hills, narrower roads. Things become tighter. The ground becomes less even, and the farming land, you will notice past Tanner's, becomes not so grand in scale, not so generous in terms of boundaries and enclosure. Structures are more densely packed, and already coming onto the road here, you are seeing more tents, more people pitched up, more animals tied and staked overnight, hobbled together, and things bandied together for the winters, to keep out the winter's wind and to share what stories they can around fireplaces and the like. Would anybody like to do anything to start the day before we get going into this? Is there anything you would have liked to have done at Tanner's that you forgot last week or last time we played?
Tom, you want to be concentrating on a skill?
Yes, thank you for reminding me. I will continue concentrating. Wait, you've got Numenera now, haven't you?
I have trained in understanding Numenera. So, is there something else as like identifying Numenera or something?
Yeah, but let me have a look at the list of skills to see if I can just say.
There's
there's salvaging, crafting, and understanding. So I'm trained in understanding, but I'm inadequate in crafting.
I'll go with salvaging, maybe.
I'm also trained in that.
Oh
yeah.
Well, the other one then.
Crafting.
Yeah, fuck it.
Salvage, understand. Yeah.
So Gex took understanding, already had salvaging, and Sam, you've gone with crafting Numenera as a flex skill for the day.
Yep.
That's cool. All right. Excellent.
Maybe I'll just be playing with one of the Numenera things you got me in the cart, trying to work out how it's made.
Yeah, absolutely.
That'll be my explanation for why I'm doing such things.
You've got that. Sorry, Karen.
You've got that little metallic cube with the creases on it. Looks a little bit like a Rubik's Cube, but as though it will fold out, didn't you?
Yes.
Yes. You got the grenade, didn't you, Gex? I got the...
I'm just sort of tossing it up and down in my...
Yeah, I got the instant server. I got the Mr. Meeseeks.
Instant servant, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I got the sleep inducer thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'll just be standing on the back of the cart as we leave. Get the box hidden away again, and I'll just be kind of sitting on the back of the cart practicing my, I don't know, hand kato or whatever you call it,
Kata.
like just the kato, the movements of self-defense and stuff like that.
Did we
As a meditative thing.
did we see Bill this morning?
No, I think Jed said it last time that we didn't see Bill. He was still
Oh yeah, he's still in
He
bed. Yeah.
disappeared.
still in bed. We left early.
That's
Yeah,
amazing memory of that.
you didn't catch him at breakfast. At least.
We've got, but he gave us a card from of his employer in Arilla. So
Yes,
if you're ever in
that's
Arilla,
right, yeah.
we can call on him. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, he said the route he took longer
Mm.
this time around than usual. Something we should remember in our brains.
Yeah, so that's fine. But yeah, you're heading south past Tanner's, and as I say, the road becomes a little less even. It's a little more undulating. You've been coming through great grassland, and although kind of skeletons of old buildings and you know this isn't perfect untouched pasture. You know, there are signs of old civilizations kind of punctuating the land. Things become a lot less even, a lot less visibility, just in terms of kind of line of sight. The horizon becomes a lot closer past from Tanner's. There are trees, but you are still mostly in grassland, but it's almost more like moorland now. There are more outcrops of rock. And when I say outcrops of rock, things will be, some of it is simple granite, but also every so often you're seeing granite that shines a bit more than it should. Granite where the pattern in the rock seems to be kind of fizzing a little bit. There are kind of outcrops of the rock that are smooth and red, and hold the morning dew particularly on the face of the rock. And as the sun comes towards them, these things steam, porous. Outcrops of rock coming from there, and as I say, the land kind of winds, and you're finding the road is a lot less straight. It's a lot less even. These aren't the hills that I mentioned that you were expecting quite yet, but certainly you're not going to have quite such an easy go. And so it's good that you made good pace across the steady, even road coming south out of Arilla, rather than the road which leads to the north of Iron.
Yeah, and like last week, I think I said that once the land starts to rise in front of us, I'll get off the back of the cart and I'll walk ahead of or alongside the cart to give Archibald as much.
So you aren't in a steady climb yet, but
Okay.
would you like to do that now, or?
Yeah, why not? Yeah, once we're out of sight of the inn,
Of the Roadhouse, yeah.
I'll walk along behind the cart, like 20 feet behind the cart.
Okay, yeah. And as I say, you're coming across things, and you can start to see the starts of farming life. You've made an early enough start that actually you're managing to beat out even the people who would be out tilling the land. You know, the dawn is late this time of year, but even so, you know, people seem to be kind of reticent to have come out. You're passing tents and encampments, and although there are animals staked, you can't quite make out the who might be staying there. You can't see any sign of the actual person themselves. Little wisps of smoke come out the top of one teepee among a clutch of tents. That is until passing things by. I'm going to give Sam 2 of these. Sam, will you give one of them to somebody?
Yes, it's in my hand. Who's got nothing?
I've got one.
I got one too, but I've already leveled up my skill.
There you go.
Did I give you two of them, Sam?
I don't know where the other one went.
There was one here.
I gave one to Gav.
All right, I'll give you one more this time.
All right.
So that puts
There you
me
go, there's
on
one more.
4. Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
there was 2. I don't know where it went.
Yeah, it's fine. I don't know. It's flown off somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. If one shows up, you haven't shrunk it yet, so that's fine. Unless
It might be under
I think it might have fallen down or something.
Fine, so be it.
It's in the abyss.
And This is because, and I'm giving that to Sam particularly, as you come to pass these clutch of tents, you do notice a jacket on the floor. It is a particular shade of smooth olive leather
Oh.
Oh dear.
that you certainly
Um,
recognise.
Yes, I will raise the alarm to everyone and say, on the floor there, that's the same thing that the man that, what the fuck was his name? Flash?
Yeah, Droflash. Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
Drove Flash that fucking jumped. Drove Flash as their colours.
Huh.
you're gonna say that loud enough for everybody to hear.
Yes.
Okay, cool. All right.
I'll pull us over, I guess. Sounds interesting. Should we investigate?
Well, yeah.
Camp itself, Jed, does it look like they've been here for a few days? Like, is the grass all trampled down? Is there a lot of mud? Is there...
Make
know what I
me
mean?
a perception roll there.
Okay.
Let me get the rules for these buggers.
Well,
and then...
I have a very serious no perception bonus at all.
That's okay. You do. I'm trying to think if. Let me have a look at your skills.
Is it intellect?
It would be an intellect roll if you wanted to apply effort or anything.
Yeah,
like
I'll
that.
play an effort and I'll spend it. Oops, I'll spend the 3
Yeah.
points and we'll give the old dice a roll and see what happens. Solid 3. Fuck
You've
that.
taken that down. I'll give you some info, or you can spend a point of XP to re-roll that totally.
No, I've only got the 1 XP, so I'm happy just to have a look and not come up with something, concrete.
Okay, bear with me. Sorry, I've got to get up the stats for these buggers, and I knew what page they were on, and I've lost it. So you're looking around their kind of encampment, and yeah, this is a cluster of kind of 3 teepee style tents. There is a single cart, and there are 5 aneen kind of tied around there. They're also using aneen to travel, and this has been fairly common in terms of traveling with carts and things like that in the area, and saddles on all 5 of them. The area that they're in, it has a water source kind of just past it, and so it makes sense as a campsite. And you can tell this, all of 3 of you have spent enough time on the road that you'll look at this and see that this is a bit of rough ground. It's not quite catching the sun too early. It will have held the sun quite late, into the evening, and so it would be well sheltered. And they'd have been able to get this, but they're quite close to the road, and so you think if they've been there for a very long time, they're probably going to have come across some traffic, that sort of thing. It seems more likely, just based on the positioning of it, that this is a common campsite, but not one that people will spend a long time at. And this is just the way that the campsite itself appears to look. The grass there is shorter than most of the things around it, and it's not within any farmer's bounds in terms of fences and things in the area, but you can't immediately determine how long this group has been there.
All right.
Or how long
Well-
it's been since they've been there, you mean?
Well, there's so there.
Are
So
are we going to
still here,
stop
though?
or are we just going to pass them by?
I think we should stop and have a look.
Is there any
Yeah.
tracks? Could I see any tracks?
Coming off it, so like I say, the grass is quite short around that area. You can make me a perception roll to see if you can actually see anything from the back of the cart, but that's going to be fairly difficult.
In which case,
That's an
I
18.
will use 2 points of intellect because I have edge in it to
Sure.
make it a bit easier. 3.
Again.
Yeah, okay.
It does.
Beyond what
I
I've
am
just
tr-
told you, so
Nothing.
beyond what I've just told you, you can't learn anything just from riding past and whispering this, mentioning this to Gex. Remember that Gav is walking about 20 foot behind you, so if you have said that loud enough for Gav, anyone that is going to be sleeping in those tents or laying in those tents awake might well have heard you as well.
Oh, I see what you mean. So it is occupied.
Did you
Well,
say...
you can't quite tell if they're occupied now. Like I say, you can't see any people, but the tents themselves are closed, and there are animals there that are tied up and have saddles tied nearby.
Thoughts,
So-
gentlemen?
I say we jump down and see if we can grab
I
one of
could
them
go.
and ask them who they are.
I could go and just hand them back their jacket and ask them what they're doing.
Yeah, play it.
Okay.
We could try and play it.
Well, I
'cause
mean, if there's 5 Inines, that means there could be a lot of men.
Hmm.
There's 5 in and there's 1 cart. There's nothing in the back of the cart. No, it's empty.
What's the chances they're here for us? I mean, they were after obviously
Well,
doing a
they-
deal with
well,
Droflash before.
They got here before us.
So were they meant to meet Droflash here, maybe?
But if they're with the faction that's already captured Droflash, why would they have men here to
Okay, well,
pick him
look,
up later? He
if
was already picked up.
if they do see us, and they, one of us could pretend to be Droflash, maybe. Look, I'm gonna go and pick up that jacket, and I assume I was having this conversation. I walked up to the back
Yeah.
of the cart,
Yeah, it's pretty easy
and
for
I'm
you to
gonna
follow, yeah.
I'm gonna walk over, pick up the jacket, have a quick pat it down, have a search through it.
As you kind of come up on the back of a tent and pick up the jacket, the flap of a tent next to it opens up.
Oh,
And
sorry, I thought the jacket was like on the road.
The
But yeah,
jacket,
okay.
the jacket's on the grass next to a tent. So Sam didn't see it until he was coming to pass the encampment.
Get you. Okay,
So
well,
it was
tell you
been on the
what.
far side, but it's
Once I pick it up, I don't want it to look in that case like I'm going through it.
okay. Yeah.
So I'm just going to hang it up on a tent pole. Just take it up off the ground,
Yeah.
like an act of respect or something. Yeah.
And there's a kind of the flap of the tent opens and there's he's not especially tall but kind of wiry looking man with slightly tanned skin. And when I say wiry, this is a guy that's had a lot of wind over his skin. He spent a lot of time outdoors. He spent a lot of time working hard. And you can tell, especially you, Gav, can tell immediately from his musculature that he's built from hard work and kind of, it's ditch digging muscle rather than, anything from lifting heavy weights or anything like that. He's just been working very hard.
Yeah.
And he fixes his look directly on you and sees you picking his jacket up and putting it on the side, and he just says, "Thank you, traveler."
Well, we have to look out for each other. These roads aren't as safe as they used to be.
And the grass is wet. Might have ruined my jacket.
It might have.
And he
You can't-
looks out, and you can see past this person that there's at least one other person in the tent behind him. Can't quite make out more details just yet because it's dark and well, yeah, you can't quite see there from there, Sam, where you are, but Gav can see another person there, but can't make out much more of a detail. You can see an arm or something like that.
I'd like
Come back to bed, Hardy.
to dismount and stand by the cart.
So traveling south with an empty cart. Don't suppose you're going for the sand in the desert as well?
And a smile comes across his face and says, we are not going south. You are yourself? And he points at your cart.
Remembering the name of Bill's employer on the card.
Yes,
I'm
and I
going
can't
to
remember what
say,
this says,
I
I don't
had a
think you
name.
told us, but fuck it, I'll pretend to be Bill if necessary. But like, I'll say we're working for,
What's the name I've got down for that? Give me 2 seconds. It is Quotors Incorporated.
So I'll say, yes, we've been employed by Quotors Incorporated to retrieve some sand from the traders in the south. Some of that special stuff they like up in Arilla.
Special sand.
Well, they seem to have a desert full of it.
Yes, it is popular. You come from Arilla now then?
Well, how many days have we been on the road? I want to tell them like an extra 2 days. So yes, 4 days ago.
And he's gonna smile. Can I get you to make something like a deception roll? Do you have a skill in that?
Do I? No, I don't. In fact, I am.
You're retarded at all these things.
Yes, I am inept, or whatever the term is.
Yeah, you have an inability in that.
In charm, persuasion, and etiquette.
Well,
Okay.
good luck.
This doesn't quite
Not
count as
deception.
that because you're just straight up lying to the guy. You're not trying to
Okay.
persuade him to do something. So I'm not going to make it harder for you. But
Another 3 points of intellect spent,
okay, cool.
and there's a 13.
Okay. Yeah, and he's gonna look around and he's looking at Arnold and Doctor Hector and
I'll do the hat tip, even though I'm not wearing a hat.
I was gonna do that, and I am wearing a hat. Son of a bitch.
You dick. Okay, I'll do a squiggly salute.
I'll just fold my arms grumpily.
And he says, "Well, that is a dangerous road to the south. You may encounter many threats." And you notice as he says this that he's saying it a bit louder than he had done before.
I'd like to
we
just
should
stroll
be
up.
safe enough.
Ah,
Kind of patting my shield, so just this isn't the first time I've walked this road.
you are heading south through the hills?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe.
Well, if you're passing through these lands, at least you want to be safe. It is protection that you want, eh? And he's saying that quite loud now. Can I get perception rolls from Sam and Gex?
Yes, please. I'll ease mine.
Okay, you're gonna
I
put
won't,
another.
because I've rolled a 19.
13. Eased it by 1 level.
And you've already got a skill in that as well, right?
Yeah, I'm trained.
Yeah, you're already trained in perception as well, right? Okay, you both quite clearly hear the sounds of people in the other tents picking up weapons.
Okay, I'm going to casually unfurl my what I'm going to assume is wrapped up set of spears and lay them out in the bottom of the cart with a hand ready on one.
I'm gonna cock my crossbow.
I mentioned this briefly last week, but heading past Tanner's and especially now, your Anine seems nervous. As though it is kind of, it's a bit more jittery. It's twisting its head around a lot more. I think it doesn't, you might get the impression that it doesn't like being, not having such line of sight as it's used to having on the northern parts of road. It seems eager to want to see where it's going, but there's just a level of discomfort with the animal.
Feeling about this.
Can I tie him up to
These animals? Yeah, are these animals kind of typically good at sensing danger? Or the way a horse can smell blood, so a trained rider might know if he was just wandering along the road by himself on his horse, something might be up, that type of thing? Or are they kind of dumb brutes? Or
they are capable of defending themselves. They're certainly not stupid in Anine.
Okay.
Ooh, can I ride it into combat?
Yeah, you can ride them to combat. Yeah, people do. Yeah.
And it's not just that he's horny, and there's a bunch of other Anine over there.
Well, you can't quite work that out. It's been a bit twitchier since you left Tanner's.
Yeah. Okay.
Can I tie him up to the nearest, fence post or whatever that's nearby, just to make sure he's not going to lam it?
You'll have to lead it off the thing a little bit, but
the next time Gav's character maybe looks around and draws eyes on us, I want to do like one of those, head tilts towards the tents where I hear the noises.
Oh, well, I don't hear the noise from the tent, but
exactly. So when you look around, I want to be like something.
So, yeah. So the guy's talking and he's going, yeah, you'll need protection going south. And I'll just say, no, there's no need for protection. I have that covered. I'm a monk of the Faucheng order, and I've been trained since birth in the many ways of defense. We should be more than capable. We saw off a horde, I suppose you could call them, of Satosh earlier. Some of the biggest Satosh I've ever seen. Tentacles all awash with the blood of the villagers. It was horrific.
Hearing that, he's a little more surprised. Can I get you to make something like an intimidation roll? Do you have any skills in that, or is that what you're enable in?
No, I'm enabling just charm, persuasion, and etiquette. So I'm just it's more the more refined The rules of
sure, yeah.
society and the more refined conversations,
You-
I'm a bit shitty in.
You're a bit rougher on, yeah.
But like the lying and the sensing, I think I'm all right in. I'm gonna say, you know what?
Right.
I'm gonna blow. No, fuck it. I'm believing in myself. I'm not gonna bother with intellect. I'm just gonna roll this rocking
Yeah,
dice.
it's fine. Yeah.
2.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. And he doesn't believe you at this, and you can tell that he's kind of leaning forward, and he's almost got this wry smile on his face now, and kind of going, "Satosh, large Satosh."
I'm going to pull out one of the Safosh spears and just stand upright, slamming it into the cart.
Well, I mean, they were up to about here, and I kind of hold my hand about nipple height. Big enough. They were only that size, weren't they? They were quite small.
Yeah, they're not huge, and they're very frail.
Yeah. Well,
Compared to this guy looks like a strong man compared to them. He's, as I say, he's not big, but he's very wiry. Bear in mind that this tent that you've come to by the jacket is on the southern end of the little encampments. You're already past the other ones in terms of the direction that you want to travel. You realize now, Gav, that the tent flaps nearby them, and Sam and Gex, you'll both also see the other. Did I see another 3 tents? The other 3 tents will open, and another 4. So 2 people from each tent will come out, and they are wearing, as I mentioned, this kind of olivey green leather. They've all gotten, all 4 people have gotten dressed. All 4 people are holding kind of slightly curved short swords, the kind of thing that if you were riding, you
use,
could get a nice long slice out of.
Are they drawn?
They are drawn. They aren't brandishing them, but they are holding them kind of by the sides of their legs, or as I say, kind of at their waist or something like that. Nobody's holding them high. Nobody's waving them around or anything like that. But they are holding drawn swords.
I'll turn to Arnold and say, "That's enough. That's enough for me. Should we take these guys?"
well, yeah, go on.
I don't know. Wait, I'm just going to say wait, see how it plays out.
Okay.
So I'll be saying, well, even if we did want your services, if that's what you're offering, I'm afraid we don't even have coin for them. And you're traveling the other direction. I think we'll be okay. Rolling on that terrible 2. So.
Yeah. Oh, no, I insist. We will travel with you to make sure you are safe. And your employer can cover the bill. We will make sure you get back very, very safe indeed.
Oh, it doesn't cost us anything.
And the 2 folks at the kind of northerlymost tent of the 3 tents kind of start moving back out towards the road. Sam and Gex, you'll see this. Gav is at the southerlymost tent of the 3.
I'm going to launch a spear at the closest one to me.
Hang on, let me get up. I'll just clear this.
Fucking dealing with this shit. And meta-y, but my intention would be that we are loading up and riding like fuck now. We're not fighting all of these.
Yeah, I was planning on backing away.
Yeah.
There's no need to fight them all anyway.
This is the way the road is
They
going.
will just chase us.
Yeah, that's fine.
They are
It's fine.
riders.
Fucking
Yeah, but
Mad
what are they going
Max,
to do when
right?
they catch us?
What if they have in the
I did
fucking
watch
tent?
Fury Road last night.
What if they have shit in the tents? Yeah, they might have some goodies.
it's our
We're
goodies
not
now.
thieves.
That's a fee for yourself.
Let's wait
Yes,
for that.
I am. You're a professional tomb robber, so yeah.
Well, yeah.
Let's draw on where the cart is.
I liberate artifacts and restore them to their
They should be in a
rightful place.
museum.
Yeah, rightful
Yeah.
place
Do-
in the museum.
Do you fellas
of
want to
my
take
pocket.
D6s? And let me know where you all are.
Oh yeah, I read.
I think you'll have to duplicate them.
I guess I was
My
in front of the
other
car.
blue one. Oh, well, it doesn't matter. Well, so these are the tents. So I'm talking
Gex,
to this man.
you're over here, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm talking
The
to this
cart.
guy.
Is this the cart?
That's the cart. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm on the cart,
I've
and
never seen a finer drawing of a cart.
my kitty is sleeping there.
Oh yeah.
We won't forget the cat this time, honest.
Okay. So this fella is at the flap of the tent.
And there's another one in behind him.
You can see another person in there, but they don't seem to have moved like these other ones have. They have also got a cart tied up here, and there are 1, 2, 3 and in tied up. Did I say 3? I said 5, didn't I?
You
Yeah.
said 5.
Did it like one of them is in order to pull
Okay.
the cart sort of thing?
So they're all saddled. But let's say this one here has the kind of rigs as though it would be pulling a cart,
Okay.
rather than the rest of them just having riding saddles.
Okay.
Rigs is not the technical term. Bridle, maybe? I don't know. Tack? Tack.
Yeah, tack.
Probably.
So Sam, you wanted to hook a spear at somebody.
Closest one, please.
Should we say this one here?
2 seconds.
I'll be back in a sec. I'm just going to grab a can.
Not the one nearest Gav. One of these ones.
Yeah, sure.
Sorry, I just. Cool. Right. Ready. Right. So this is a speed attack, isn't it? That's not what I want. There's this then going straight into initiative after I hook this thing.
Yes, let's do that. Yeah. Yes, I'll let you make your speed attack.
3. Lucky
Yeah.
number 3.
I think that's
3, you're hurling a spear?
four.
Yeah.
Yeah.
4-3 is tonight.
Yeah,
Yep.
cool.
Um,
So the spear goes clean past this fella. These people are similarly kind of let's say there are 2 women, 5 and 1 are women, the others that you can see are men. They're, like I say, they're all similarly kind of slight but well built and obviously very fit. With kind of weathered faces. Again, they've seen a lot of wind. They know what kind of is going on with this. You were already standing with a spear in your hand. Bear in mind, Sam. You wanted to kind of demonstrate that you had been killing Sathosh, and so raising this and throwing it doesn't come as any kind of surprise to this person number 4 here. And they duck it. And we will go into initiative with everybody. I'll wait. I know Gav just said he was just going to go away, but I'll get everyone else to roll.
No, I'm back. I'm back.
You're back. Okay, cool.
It's a D20 for initiative.
D20 for
Uh-huh.
initiative. Yep.
12.
From Sam.
It's a 14.
12.
Do we add anything?
Not unless you've got a training in it or anything like that. And even then, no. Just tell me if you are trained in it because it'll take it down a bit. But Sam.
6.
6, cool. Okay, everybody will go before them, so you'll all get one more turn. But let's get then Gav to go first. Gav, as I say, you hear and see Arnold chuck a spear at number 4 here. It doesn't really do anything. It kind of just scats past them, into the wall of the tent, but just sticks in there and certainly doesn't hurt a person. Because they were expecting it.
Yeah, I'll just kind of turn and shrug my shoulders, like holding my hands up. What in the hell, Arnold? And what I'm going to do is, if I can, delay my action till the guy in front of me reacts. Number 3 reacts, if that's cool.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's fine. Gex, would you like to act?
Yeah, I'm gonna shoot at number 4 with my crossbow.
Yeah. Okay. Again, make an attack roll.
Is that a speed?
It would be a speed attack. Yeah. Are you trained in that?
Yeah. What do you mean?
So do you have a training that would actually give you an asset in this? Some people are trained in speed attacks. You are not.
No,
Okay.
no. I have a speed edge of 1, so I'm gonna ease it.
Okay. You spend 2 points of that. Yeah.
So that'll be a 12.
12 will hit. So this, with them dodging Sam's spear, they've kind of turned their head to see where it goes, and your taking your opportunity there, your crossbow bolt comes up and goes clean into their shoulder. How many points of damage does that take?
4. Looks like.
4 points of damage. Yeah, they drop their sword and kind of go down on a knee and are obviously shocked and surprised at having been hit by a crossbow there. Everybody else other than number 4 here then is going to react quite aggressively. So these two here are going to move as much as they can. This kind of distance, it's a short distance for them to get up on you, like that. And number 5 here is going to react with some kind of shock. They're going to pick up number 4's sword and try and get it back to them and try and tend their wounds. Kind of press on the bolt. These people were not expecting some kind of resistance. They were just, they weren't really expecting a fight, and then they've taken an opportunity to do so.
Good.
Number 3 here is seeing this again, seeing their friend there. He's going to try to push you, Gav. First of all, he was not armed and wasn't wearing his jacket there. So would you make I'm going to call that a might defense roll?
Do that. I'm going to ease it as well.
Okay, sure. Are you trained in these defense rolls? No. Okay, cool.
No, I'm trained in armor. I think that's the only thing I'm trained in.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah,
and
all that means is you don't get a penalty for using armor.
Yeah. So, yeah.
But
I've
it tends,
eased one category.
A 10's fine, and basically what happens is this guy's hand comes up and kind of bashes into your shoulder, but in a way that is not really any tougher than someone being pushy in a market. He looks incredibly, like I say, not even cross, but just frustrated and like this didn't go the way he was expecting it to go. These are obviously people that have waylaid travelers over and over and over again, and he's not, them fighting back is actually not the norm.
Okay.
Would you like to react to that?
Yes. What I'm going to do is shove him back.
Okay, cool.
With the intent of pushing him into his tent. So maybe next round I can collapse the tent on him or something like that to tie up the people that are in there.
Yeah,
anyway,
make a might attack.
Can do. I will.
Okay, so I've thrown one spear.
An 11.
An 11, and you're just going to push the fella.
I'm just aiming to push him. Yes.
Yeah, that's fine. And he.
But my unarmed does count as medium, so I'm. I don't. Well, for damage purposes.
Yeah.
But...
Well, let's say with the way you've done it, you've not gone in for a strike. You are prioritizing the movement, but this obviously doesn't come against him lightly. You are much stronger than he is at this point, and you've hit him a lot harder than he hit you. And so he careers backwards into the tent. Doesn't lose his footing entirely, but is in amongst the midst of things in the folds of the material. Everything like that. You do hear the other person in there move, and you what little you could see of them kind of comes out of their view. All you could really see of it was an arm, but from the sounds of things and from the way you see the shadows move, they've stood. And that would be your turn again then, Gav, if you're taking that out of that, and we're back to the top of initiative.
I'm just going to. Sorry,
I didn't get a turn in that initiative.
Oh, did you?
You're not through. You opened it by throwing the.
Before initiative.
Yes, that's true. And so Sam, what would you like to do? Sorry, Sam.
I rolled a 6. I don't know where that puts me. Sorry,
Sam. But six puts you on a match with the bandits, and I got them to go before you on this time just because of Gav's thing.
That's quite all right. And as you'd suspect, I'm going to launch another spear at somebody.
Yeah,
and
sure. Yeah.
While also doing this, I'd like to answer to what Gav said, which I can't really quite remember. But I'm going to say, "Come on, you blind fool, in the car!" and then launch a spear at number 2.
And number 2 there. Yeah, cool. Maybe an attack roll, please.
I'm going to use some effort to make it easier. 10.
Yeah, 10 will hit. So that the spear comes through to them. And catches them in the arm. Again, 4 does a decent amount of damage on them, and again that'll catch them, let's say, in the thigh. So it's like that scene in Ace Ventura when nature calls.
I was
where-
just thinking that.
Yeah. Yeah. It doesn't hit them super hard, and this is because the distance that they're now within short range of you, or they're now more or less within immediate range of the cart, and you've just kind of jabbed that in there. You haven't thrown it super hard, but you've gotten a really nice hit in a way that's going to, dig them deep in the thigh. They don't go down, but they're looking at that. And as I say again, these folks were not emotionally prepared for a fight today. So
Yeah, they
that's
just woke up for God's sake, and now one of them has a
more or
spear in
less,
their thigh.
yeah, and then this person has a crossbow bolt through their shoulder as well. Let's go around there then to Gav's turn.
Okay, I'm gonna sweep the front sticks of the tent.
Yep.
As best I can, trying to collapse its entrance. And
The
then,
kind of TP style tents, so you should be able to either lift it or pull it.
yeah, if it takes and if I can get any movement there, because I have a fighting move for a fleet of foot, 1 plus speed points. So if I can move just a little bit towards 4.
Yeah, so let's say you can. This would be the immediate. Yeah, it would be. Let's
If I
call that
need
an distance anyway. If you can get to this person, so I'm happy for you to.
Do you want me to spend speed points to do it?
I'm happy for you to do that and then move the immediate distance here. This is, it's a matter of about 2 or 3 meters, so that's fine. But let's get the roll on this first.
Okay, just base roll another 13. Fucking hell, what's it with 3s and 13s?
That's fine. Yeah, so you can get a decent yank on that, and part of the tent collapses around. Like I say, you can see these 2 people. The tent itself is not empty of objects.
Okay, and tell you what, Jed, I'm going to spend the speed point because what I want to do is I want to be up in number 4's grill.
Sure, yeah.
And surprise him with my fat man speed movement, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's fine. Well, you got within the immediate range there, and I'm, like I say, you were close enough, and their tents were close enough together.
Oh,
that,
okay.
I'm not going to take that point off you, but you're not going to be able to do anything else.
Yes,
for
that's fine.
As I say, these 2 are basically tending to each other. This person has a crossbow bolt through their arm, and number 5 there is trying to stem the bleeding on a kind of short-term basis there. Gex, we'll come back round to your turn first.
Yeah. Do we need to worry about loading crossbows or anything? Or can I just fire again?
Well, I'll say you've done that as part of your turn.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think there is loading on them.
That's cool. In that case, I'm gonna shoot number. I'll shoot number 1.
1. Yeah, sure. Yeah, make me roll.
Speed roll again. I'll ease it again. 10.
The dice.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, and so this comes through, and this hits them kind of by their left collarbone. So again, the kind of goes clean into them, like that. They've got a bit of leather on. These people are dressed, so they are lightly armored. But again, that kind of goes clean into them, and they look down at this like bloody hell. They weren't expecting that. And they'll hold on for a second there. Regardless.
Sorry, I just wanted to. Can I move like a little bit closer as well?
Yeah, if you're gonna move up a little bit, I'll get you to here if you'd like to.
Yeah, that'll be fine.
What that'll do though is that will get you in range, because although you've shot this person, you've shot them in their left arm, and their right arm is still holding a sword. Fine. They're able to close the distance, and come in and swing on you. So give me a speed defense roll, please.
Cool. I'll just roll this clean. I'll roll 2 dice. Ignore the little one. 15.
15 will, they've been knocked off the balance. They're coming in for it, but you're well prepared. You've seen them coming up close, and you've moved to meet them. So the sword, swings past you and hits only air. So it's fine. This person that you've hit with the spear, Sam, they are deterred and they are limping, but they're going to come up nearby to you. And they're going to, kind of try and hobble up onto the cart and take a swing. I'll give you an asset on your speed defense, please.
3. What the fuck is going on today? Night of 3s.
The sword is just about long enough, and they have jumped and leapt, and even with this kind of spear against their leg, they're able to get a decent leap up on there, and they bring this around. Are you wearing light armor?
Yes.
So in which case you take 3 points of might damage.
Okay.
They would do 4, but you lose 1 for the armor.
Yep.
And this is this sword coming over and kind of catching your shin, which is it's not gonna do any real lasting damage, but it hurts like a mother bitch.
A little slice in my shin. Yeah. Cool.
Gav, you coming up behind number 4. Number 5 is there in front of them. They're going to see you, and they, holding their sword, they are going to turn and try and slash past their friend at you. So can I get you to make a defense roll, please?
Yes. I am trained in. Okay, that's only that. So I have my shield. That I think just counts as armor. I don't think it modifies any defense rolls. There's a 14.
14's fine and easy. Yeah, again, they can't quite get past their friend there, so
Deflected with my shield.
you're more than able to dodge that attack. Number 4 is going to wheel around, and again, I'm going to get you to make a defense roll, but it's going to be pretty easy. They're kind of hurt.
15.
Yeah, again, this person's turning, and it's almost like these two are tangled up together.
Yeah.
They can't, they're blocking each other's attacks with that. The last thing you start to hear is the 2 people in this tent, number 3 and whoever else is in there, starting to shout and mutter and muffle. And number 3 is going to get out from behind there.
Okay.
The player intrusion, and he's
Yep.
going to get more tangled up in the tent and trip over a tent pole and land on his face as he comes
Fine.
out.
Yeah, cool, legit. Yeah. And I'll take that back off you.
Oh, I just fucking dragged my cards into my hand. Fucking stupid game.
Yeah, I've left the XP cards in my hand.
Yeah, I'm just going to now as well. Then.
I think I'm determined just to spend all my XP on in-game things.
Yep. Is it my turn now?
It is your turn, Sam.
Yeah. Okay. Now that guy's kind of stabbed me, I have a height advantage on him, I assume, because he's not on the cart. So
Nope.
I'm going to turn and I'm going to poke him in the face with a spear.
Cool. Yeah, make an attack.
This is might, so it should be eased nicely. 14.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, the spear comes clean through, and you've already hurt this guy. And actually, you can see exactly where he is. He's swinging at you, and the spear, you're able to more or less put it in his face.
Nice.
And so this person, the spear comes down into his cheek, glances off his cheek, and goes up into an eye socket. And you get this very brief kind of and then he'll fall down. Are you going to try and hold on to the spear, or are you going to let them fall? You're going to let them fall with it.
I'm going to hold on to the spear.
You're going to hold on to the spear. So in which case you kind of have to hold the weight of the person very briefly, and then with a brief little shake that you do without really thinking about it, they
Just
fall
push
off
him
and
with
they
my foot.
crumple. Yeah.
That's cool. And I'll stay here. I'm not moving.
You've just totally killed that person there. Is your cat doing anything? Does your cat do anything on your turn?
I can decide if it's doing anything, and right now it's just staying in its little bundle of comfort, not thinking about anything.
Cool. Yeah. Nice and warm in the thing. Archibald similarly is, as I said, kind of nervous, and these other Anine here now, sensing the violence and being aware of it, they've stood and they are moving and twisting, but they are tied up and they are staked. And so they aren't properly trying to get away here. They're all well disciplined, all these animals that you've dealt that are around here. Gav, what would you like to do on your turn now?
I was thinking of, so I've got perfect setup, which is against 3 opponents. Attack all 3 as a single action. I don't know if that number 3 is too far away.
I will call I'm going to call that immediate range still just about. This guy's still on the ground, so it'll be nice and easy for you to get to him.
Okay,
So he's
in that case, I don't want to injure these people, because I feel like Arnold was, well, he's obviously a murderous swine, but I feel it was overkill what's being done here. So I want to just push both these over, the 2 that are tangled in themselves. Well, I'll make an attack to see how effective it is, but essentially I just want to floor them and then move back to pounce on number 3.
Sure, yeah.
So will I just do 3 strike attacks anyway?
Yes, I
3
think that's
do.
the best thing to do. Yeah.
So okay, number 4, 5 first. So 4 is a 12.
Cool. Yeah.
5 points of damage.
Yeah.
And then 5 is a 10
Yeah. Cool. That'll hit as well. Yeah.
for another 5 points of damage.
Mhm.
And then I'm jumping over onto 3 for another 5 points of damage.
So what you've done here, if I can describe this, number 4 again, kind of spinning, and they've got this crossbow bolt through their shoulder. Is you've been able to bring an elbow up into that bolt, and in doing so, catch them in a way with enough strength that it more or less flips them onto their side and flattens them there, and they hit the dirt like a sack. In spinning there, and with this same motion, you come down and kick out at number 5's ankle, and again they will drop down into the dirt there and be tripped. And then as you've described, they're kind of leaping and keeping with your twisting, turning, spin all the way back over to number 3. And do you want to strike him, or do you just want to kind of put your hand down on to stop him getting up?
Well, considering he's the leader, or at least in my head he's the leader,
Yep.
he's the only one I really wanted to hurt, if you
Okay.
know what I mean.
Yeah.
As in, maybe he's leading these people off the path as such. So yeah, I'll spin and roll towards him, and then come up with my shield and just give him the full force of it.
Good. Yeah,
And
good.
just
Whomp
flatter
on
him.
the back of the head. Yeah, that's fine. And great. So you just get a good solid punch through the back of the head. And this guy's
There's
face is
Steve.
down in the dirt there. Excellent. Yeah.
And it's like, wrong move or something like that.
Told you.
Or yeah, exactly, bad move. Yeah.
No, great. Excellent. And with we're going to Gex's turn next then. Yeah. Gex, would you like to do anything with number 1 being there in front of you?
ahead of me. Is there some way I would like to attack with my whip, but try and restrain them with it and maybe tie them up? Is that gonna be
Yes, but
possible?
it's going to be a little more difficult.
Okay.
Just to kind of try and use it like you would if you had a rope in your hand to try and get it around this person. Bear in mind that they've come
wanna-
at you and they've tried to swing their sword at you, so they are in a kind of action pose
Yeah.
You could
in
like
this moment.
Jackie Chan them with like a belt or a chain, wrap up their hands.
Yeah. I want to run up and hit B like in Red Dead Redemption, tackle them to the ground and tie them in one motion. No, I'll ease this then, and I'm gonna attempt it.
I'm going to call that speed effort.
Yes, I've done that.
Yeah.
1.
Cool.
Uh-oh.
Okay. Yeah.
Fucking
In
hell.
doing this, basically, because you had your crossbow in your hand just a couple of seconds
Yeah,
before,
I did.
you shot this person. They ran up at you, and in doing that, you go to grab your whip and seem to forget that you've got your crossbow in your hand, and manage to kind of bash your crossbow against your own hip and drop it on the ground. You've hurt yourself. I'm not going to let you make you take any damage there, but actually what you end up doing is just dropping your crossbow and not drawing your whip at all. Your head is down in a way that you're not going to be kind of immediately open to attack, but you are suddenly, rather than disarming your opponent, you have disarmed yourself.
That's fine.
Just getting an image of those SWAT guys approaching Nakatomi Plaza when the one gets the needle from the rose bush on himself. He goes, "Ow!" I mean,
Yes, exactly.
just imagine it happened.
Yeah, or speaking about Jackie Channing it. Remember the bit in Shanghai Noon when he's playing with the horseshoes and he keeps hitting himself in the hand in the outtakes?
Yeah.
I think that's in the outtakes rather than the main film, but yeah, he's definitely swinging around the horseshoes on a rope and just catches himself clean on the hand a couple of times with it. Yeah, so you've disarmed yourself there.
Yeah, cool.
Gav, I know we are midway through the combat, but I'm going to get you to give one of these to somebody.
Okay, I believe the last one I gave to was to Gex, so Sam, pay that back.
And this is because standing outside this tent, you feel a hand on your shoulder suddenly. And I'm going to get you to make an intellect defense roll on this.
Perfect. I will not ease this because it's more fun.
It's a GM intrusion on there. So yeah,
There's a 5.
Yeah, cool. That's less good for you. You feel very cold suddenly.
Oh dear.
And you feel as though everything that you've done over the past few days, everything you've done over the past 3 or 4 days, and really since you arrived in Orilla, becomes a very strong, very vivid memory. Kind of all of a sudden, and
So now
you're
we're sending
running through the
Perseverance.
order of sequence of things. You're
Perseverance
running
is
through how
tasked
you felt about
with
things.
answering
This
the
very
question
strong
and
emotional
looking for
wave
evidence of
overtakes
ancient
you.
microbial life on Mars.
For Sam
in order to do
and
this,
Gex,
she
what
has
you
to be
see
the
is the
smartest and
person
most capable
who was
order we've
in
ever
the
seen.
other tent happens to be a very lithe, much taller than these other people, mildly beautiful looking young woman of a similar skin tone, a similar coloring, wearing a similar kind of olive leather, but standing in the doorway to this last tent. There she is.
Would I have, I know it's quite meta, but would I have any idea that this person has just read my mind? I.e. pulled
Uh,
the thoughts out to the most recent?
that's not unreasonable. Yeah, I mean, in terms of
Or is it
like I say,
too much of a leap?
no, well, that's like I say, you've got this feeling of these images have been conjured into your mind. You have been forced to remember them in this way, and at the same time, you have felt all of the heat in your body run out of you. It's almost as though you're. It is, if you had food in your mouth, it would no longer be there.
All right.
You
So,
feel as though you haven't really eaten your breakfast suddenly, things like that. So you feel. I'm not going to place any kind of mechanical penalty on you
there's
for
no
just that,
damage
but
to me, is there?
you're not taking any damage, but you feel drained.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah, and as I say, just all you really feel is a hand on your shoulder. That would be then. Gex has just had his turn, so that is their turn. Number 3 is not going to struggle because he's been punched in his head. Number 4 is out for the count. How do I? Sorry, y'all have changed the color of this other red one, and I can't work out how to do that myself.
Right-click,
Color
tint.
tint, yes.
Make them black.
Well, I'll make
Sorry,
it
I
red.
just read if they were out, like,
Yeah,
dead.
red for out the count for the count. Number 2 is actually dead. Number 4 is not dead but grievously injured. Number 5 is prone. Number 1 is the only one that's actually going to get an attack. So
Invisible.
I don't want to be invisible.
I wanted black for knocked out instead of red for dead.
Yeah, fine. Yeah.
Just in case we wanted to bring one back with us, we know which one it is.
Fine. Yeah. Number 1 is going to get Gex. Can I get you to make a defense roll, please? Speed defense.
I will improve my chances once more.
Oh man, that is a big fucking robot. Are you watching the stream?
18.
I am, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew that. It's got a nuclear reactor on it, like.
Really?
Not a
Wow.
nuclear
Okay.
battery, an RTG battery.
Is it coming in for landing, or is it happening?
No. It's just they're doing a massive 2-hour preview thing. I think it's 9
cool.
p.m.
Cool. Yeah. Gex, so your defense roll works in a way, and actually giving you an 18 there, I'm going to give you the minor effect of actually having dropped your crossbow. You almost become, it's not oblivious, but you focus so much on drawing your whip that the next second this person swings their sword and you happen to kind of duck down to pick up your crossbow and draw your whip in perfect timing with this swing going over your head. I'm going to give you one of those weapons immediately in your hand and one of them stowed. Which one would you like?
I like the whip in my hand.
And the crossbow to be sheathed or kind of sheathed or whatever would the word be. Slung is the word. Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
okay.
I would
Yeah.
sling it.
So going into your next turn, you would be armed. Sam, seeing what you have seen, as I say, you've killed this person outright, but you will have seen this this tall woman emerge from the third tent and entrance Gav, it might look like to you. What would you like to do now?
Trance, Gav. Ooh.
Well, you've seen him kind of stiffen and become pale,
Ooh.
and what electronic
Shake
glimmer
my
he had
head.
before is, it's kind of buzzing. I mean, Gav, if
Yeah,
I
because
recall
I
from
had
the
a bit of
description,
a
yeah,
fiber optic light
that's it. And these
veins on my skin and stuff. So they probably went from pulsing whatever to kind of faded or
they have quickened, if anything, from being a kind of gentle pulse, especially in the calmer conversations before, to like when you're loading something very hard and you have a light on your hard drive that starts flickering very quickly.
Mm.
They are now
Are
flickering
you,
and
He is
more
under
active.
load.
are you telling me
Yes.
for a fact that he is charmed, or are you telling me it looks like it?
I'm telling you, I'm
So-
describing to you what it looks like there. You haven't made
Okay,
any roll
in
or spent any time trying to ascertain what's going on.
In which case, I'm going to spend 2 points of intellect to link my senses with Gav, and I'm going to feel exactly what he is feeling right now.
Oh,
Is
that's
he
not a
conscious?
bad idea.
So as I said to you, he's what ability is it you're doing that with?
Oh, it's one of my special abilities. Tricks, link senses cost 2 intellect.
Okay, cool.
Last
Yeah,
1 minute. Concentrate to use target
Yeah.
senses.
yeah,
So
cool.
I'm going to spend my turn seeing what's going on.
So as we've seen with Gav, he is
Maybe say something afterwards.
not sweaty, but kind of ever so slightly strained, having fought a couple of people already, having his hand flat on the back of number 3's. Let's position these a little bit better. So number 3 is down. Okay, it's here. Having positioned his hand right on the back of number 3's head, pinning this fella into the ground, and then feels the gentle weight of this tall woman's hand on his shoulder. And then, as I said, felt almost instantly cold and hungry and fatigued and as I say, being drained, and at the same time awash with emotion and awash with memory, and this kind of mixture of all the adrenaline over the last couple of days and all of the curiosity and all of the distrust, but also excitement, but also relief and joy at having been reacquainted with Bill, and also the
I'm
the kind of
feeling an
concern that he's
emotional
had.
torrent of him losing all his energy from being
Yes,
over.
and
Yeah.
this all comes through at once, and I'm going to say, because you're doing this this is like an esotery, isn't it, that you get as a jack? Yeah. I'm going to say, because you're doing this as a trick, and because you've seen Gav's face kind of blank out and his fiber optics kind of were, you're a little bit prepared for that.
Yes.
But you can see what's going on with that. He himself is not going to be paralyzed, but this is this is something that is happening presently as you are watching.
Well, I'm going to say to Mr. Doctor Hector, we need to get the monk and go.
Yeah. Well, we can
And
finish the rest
you
of
know.
the guys.
Yeah,
Lodge.
he's in trouble.
Monk.
I think that's probably the only words I get out of my mouth is he's in trouble.
Okay.
And then that's my turn because I don't think I can do anything else.
You could chuck another spear, can you?
No, that's my action.
Yeah, the
is-
esotery will
Oh,
cast
you
the
use your
action there,
action. Got it. Yeah.
and that will be at the end of initiative. That will come back around to Gav.
Okay, very kind of 70s kung fu movie. I'm going to do it like a triple take, shake of the head, and upon feeling what's happened to me, I'm going to like jump backwards, flip over, roll on my shield, and roll backwards, disengage from combat, and get as far away from them as I can.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, so to move the short distance, you can get to the cart. I'm happy with that, and break off
Cool.
from this person. They don't put any resistance into the grip. This person, number 3, doesn't try to get up at all. You're able to kind of, like a sprinter out of the blocks almost, you're able to leap up, as you say, kind of flip forwards out of the space there, and bounce up off your shield, and not stop tumbling until you feel the wall of the cart against your back.
Well, and that's me. I'll go. Yeah, I'll just shout, "Let's go!"
Gex, it'll be your turn.
Oh, but I want to capture one and bring him with us. But
We'll whip up this guy with you. Try and jump on the cart and whip this guy so you catch him.
that is. Yeah.
Drag him with us.
I'd like to whip this
Yep.
guy around his ankles and then climb on the back of the cart while dragging him.
So I'll give you the immediate move for free to get onto the cart.
Yeah.
And would you like to make the attack before or after you get up on the thing?
I think after is probably better.
Okay, so you're gonna
Yeah.
You're gonna hop up onto the cart, and I'll let you do that for free because that's just a very short immediate movement.
Whip attacks you would do it as a speed attack, right?
It would be a speed attack. Yep.
Okay, cool. Well,
you're going to try and bind this person up. So I'll give you two options. In fact, what I might do is get you to make the attack roll, but this is quite a specific thing. And if you do roll to get a minor effect, so if you roll an 18 or over, I will let you bind up their legs quite easily.
Would that include easing?
No. So easing it would just determine whether you hit or not. What you're aiming for is quite a specific effect. So what I'm inclined to say actually here is
how about this? Once per day for a 10-hour rest, I can choose to automatically succeed on one task without rolling, as long as its difficulty is no higher than 6. Is it going to be higher than 6?
Yes, these are a level 2, so they have a 6 to succeed at. Like I say, that would be to hit. What you're aiming to achieve here is a very specific thing. So it would either require a minor effect.
Like it's like a crit, isn't it?
Yeah, so you can either roll an 18 or over, or you can roll, if you hit, you may spend a point of experience to achieve what you want here.
Okay.
Those are the two options that I'm going to give you there.
I'm going to ease it anyway.
Okay, sure. I mean, all you need is a 6 to hit them.
Okay.
So the 13 will hit, and so you've jumped up onto the cart, and your whip comes down onto their legs. Now, to see if you want to wrap around them, 13 won't be enough for you to wrap all the way around them. So, like I say, if you can give me an experience card, you can spend a point of XP, and I'm happy with that then to fully wrap around them, so you think that you can drag them reliably.
And now we're on the cart, I guess. Gav's at the front, and I'm holding this guy, so I'll yell, "Get us out of here, brother!"
Cool. I'm going to give. I think it's just number 1 number 1's tied up and is going to be flipped down onto the ground. The rest of these people are down on the ground. Number 6 is not going to act any further. They are standing stock still. They more or less haven't moved in the time since they emerged from the tent. And looking at their face, you're not getting any sense of emotion or how they feel, anything like that. They aren't looking around at the group. They aren't looking at you. They're just kind of staring into space directly forward. Number 3 is not going to attempt to get up. 4 and 5, again, aren't going to try and move there. So number 1 is just tied up, and you're going to drag them with you. So we'll take all of these off. Take your dice.
Yeah, on my turn, obviously, I'm going to jump back on the cart, and we're going to do our best to go.
Sam, would you like to do anything on an immediate basis here before we wrap everything up?
No. Well, actually, can I grab the spear out of that guy's thigh?
Yes, let's say you can, yeah.
Because his body's right there, so I've only lost
he's right there, and he's just sticking there, yeah.
Yeah, cool. Just as he whips to go with the cart, I'll lean over and grab the spear out of his thigh, off his corpse. And the movement of the cart will allow me to easily pull it out.
Great.
So I only lost 1 spear, that's good.
Yeah, you lost 1 spear in this tent right here. Let's wipe all these drinks off. And you are going to move quickly through this kind of, as I say, this moorland landscape away from the encampment that you were up within. And the road, as I've described, continues to wind, but by urging him on, you can get Archibald to pick up quite a decent pace. And within even just a few minutes, you get past this level where the camp behind you that you've left is nothing more than a smoke trail in the sky, coming out of the tops of the teepees, and there is nothing up ahead of you either that I've seen so far.
Can I have pulled this fellow onto the cart by now?
So you've been dragging them for a little while, and they've been struggling and trying to whip at their hands or anything like that. And if you're trying to draw them in as you would with a fish, they will resist a bit, but basically realize that their legs are tied, they've been dragged along the road, it's not very comfortable for them, and they're feeling quite a bit of fatigue by the time you draw them in. You did also shoot this person in the chest with an
Yes.
arrow.
Yeah, he
if I
was
recall.
injured already.
It's not
He had
gonna
Yeah,
one
so
through
you
his
know,
fucking collarbone.
with a crossbow bolt, and so yeah, you've got this person who is dirty and blooded and really very pissed off, and you're dragging them up into the cart.
I would
And-
restrain their hands.
Yeah, cool. You've got some rope that you can do that with, so that's fine. And you can do that right away. Bringing them up into the straw backing of the cart there. Gav, I think, is driving still. Is that right?
Well, I kind of jumped on the front and I probably shouted at the Anine or maybe whipped him. I don't know if I'm too big to get on the Anine's back, but
They're
yeah, I
decent
am.
size.
Just give him a good
Okay,
old slap
so-
give him a good old slap on the booty.
Might do a bit of a swap with Hector.
Yeah.
And I'll secure our prisoner
Yeah.
while
After-
Hector
see it.
maybe takes
See-
care of the Anine.
See if you can figure out who these guys are and what they're up to.
Well, kind of know who they're associated with.
He'll grumble and he'll say, "What is this? You are not salt farmers, sand merchants."
I'll give him an open, fatty palm slap. Not to injure him, just to shut him up.
A pimp slap.
No, the front of the hand, not the back.
I
Oh,
imagine it's
sorry.
very sweaty.
A bitch slap then.
Yeah.
Splutter for a brief second then and look up at you in fear as you're riding along there, and he's looking around, and he's laying there in the straw. The stone blocks, they were in a wooden box, if I recall, but he realizes, and you can see from the look of his face as he kind of spreads and wiggles in the straw, that he's aware more or less instantly that this isn't just straw. There's definitely something being concealed in there.
Okay, well, I'm gonna, in that case, grab his hair, push one side of his head into the floor of the cart, and go, "What do you see? What is it? Is it this?" And I'm gonna pull back the straw so he sees the box. Is that what you're looking for?
What? What is it?
Why were you on the road? Why were you waiting for us? And well, I'm gonna just hold his head down, but the bumping of the cart on the ground will probably kind of vibrate, give him a little bit of an uncomfortable feel there. Yeah.
I don't know who you are.
Who was that
Wait.
witch? I don't know if witch is a common term in this world, but who is that? What are the guys called again?
Nano, yeah.
And nano is your kind of generic term for mage, I suppose.
Yeah, okay, so who was that Nano? How did she read my mind?
She is Esther. She is. Did she? I don't know who you are. She might. She keeps secrets from all of us.
That's why I feel we should have killed them all.
What was the name of the clan?
They were the Nalgena.
Yeah, can I ask him if they're now Gala?
Oh yeah. Sorry, that's like 4 sessions ago.
Yeah. Are you now Gala? Why do you wear the colours of them?
We're Nalgena. This is our land. We keep the roads. Too many traps think they pass freely, and we take their money.
So bandits, right?
So you're just nothing but common criminals, and I'll kind of shake his head against the floor of the cart.
Yeah, that way.
He tries to struggle against you, Gavin. You feel this in particular has kind of insulted him. You can feel his back trying to arch and his shoulders trying to twist at being called.
I'm a fairly
being
chunky guy, but also
yeah.
pretty fat as well.
Having your weight on the back of his head and being pinned in this way where he's really got no leverage. He's trying to twist and he's trying to get out, but doesn't respond to that verbally, at least.
Arnold, I'm sorry I doubted you. You obviously saw more in these fiends than I did.
I'm going to obviously go, yes, that's what happened. Yes, exactly that. These are the people that took Droflash. That's what I'm going to say. I'm going to remind you. It was these members of this clan. Were we from Afkatla, was it, or something? Or is that from the other D&D?
Catla.
Arilla.
Catla was from my D&D, not even the last one. No, Arilla.
Arilla.
Was,
I knew it began with A. Yeah. Your compatriots in Arilla took one of ours. Obviously he's not one of ours, but I'm going to
Your
pretend he
best
is.
friend.
Yeah, my best friend. Why was that?
I've never been to Arilla. We have people there.
Sorry, Jet. What age is this guy?
He's fairly young. Most of the people that came out, as I say, they've had hard lives. But looking at this guy, he might be in his mid-20s. He's a fairly young adult.
Starting to feel like we kidnapped the wrong dude here, I guess.
Well, everyone that you met there, without exception, without even exception of the young women, none of them were old-looking. None of them were particularly sophisticated fighters. None of them looked especially skilled. This story about them just being bandits and kind of highwaymen seems to check out, and they weren't really prepared for a fight. You caught them early in the morning, but the way that they discussed, oh well, you need to pay protection to travel, and finding out what you were going on there, that doesn't seem unreasonable now, what he's telling you.
Was Esther one of your group? Was she normally with you?
Esther, tribal leaders have her stand with us, but I don't know why. She's been with us only for 2 days.
Where did she come from? What group was she associated with?
She is of the tribe.
Right.
Something in the way this guy's speaking, it's probably not coming across for me properly, but it's almost like the language that he's trying to speak to you in. He's trying to struggle to find the words, and the cadence of his speech is ever so slightly broken. So it's not maybe his first language, the truth, which is the kind of common tongue through the steadfast. It may well be that they're now going to have their own speech, that it would be more natural to him, but you folks don't really have any chance of learning that.
Yes.
So
Regardless, yeah, he's kind of, he says, yeah, she's tribal elder, had her with us. 2 days we have come from the east to put camps on the road near Tanner's. We stopped everyone, search carts, taken money, taken valuables. She has just watched.
So she was waiting for something.
Yeah. We should have maybe.
Sounds like she was waiting for us. Your tribe has a feud with our employer. Well, maybe not our employer, but with someone we know. What's the name of the guy? The family?
So Marceau was the person who was employing you. What you've told him and what he heard is what the fuck were they called? The ones that I just mentioned to you.
The
Morgana.
Oster? No, were they called? Incorporated. Quotors, yes.
We said we were from
Quotors and Cores, yeah.
I have no problem with. We rob many families. Quotors is one of them. That's what they're called. Give me 2 seconds.
Yeah, okay. I won't give away our hand anymore, just in case we release this guy, which we probably will.
You shouldn't mention our actual employer.
Yeah.
We should cut his throat.
Hey,
I don't like him.
Okay, I'm now about to pick him up and throw him out the back of the cart. So my hands move from holding his head down to grabbing his shirt and his breeches.
Yeah, he doesn't try and move or anything like that.
And I'm moving to throw him out the back of the cart unless anyone's stopping me.
I'm going to hold you your arm and go, wait, we should hand him to the proper authorities.
I'm going to say, wait, give him my rope back.
Yeah, I untie the rope, or yeah, whatever. You cheap fuck. I untie your
It's my
not your
favourite rope.
That's my favorite rope.
Seeing this happen, he's been well and truly intimidated by you folks now, and he's not even at the point of resisting. By the time the rope is coming open.
There are no authorities on these. No, okay. I'd like to speak this from in character kind of point of education as such, or authority, saying that there are no authorities on these roads. The Nalgena are the authorities on these roads. They're
Yeah,
scum.
that's accurate. Yeah.
Yeah, they're scum, but I don't want to put such a young man to death for just this.
They didn't attack
I'm
us.
counting on your guys' humanity, basically, to allow me to chuck this guy out alive.
Then he
Out
should
again,
work,
kind of.
but he should be punished for his crimes.
He's got a big hole in him.
In the cities, he'd be in prison for robbing poor folk.
I've got a big hole in him. That's as good as a death sentence out here. Probably.
Okay, I'm going to throw him at the back of the cart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I won't stop. I won't stop him.
No.
But I won't agree with it.
I am going to throw him at the back, but I'm not aiming to throw him on his head or his neck. You know what I mean? I'm not aiming to kill the man, but I'm not aiming to save him.
Throw him off the road, so maybe he lands in a thick tuffet of grass or something like that.
No.
It's razor glass and it slices into ribbons.
Yeah.
The grass opens and eats him.
Yeah. No, I'm just going to throw him onto the road.
Roll a dice. You roll a 1. He dies.
We're gonna let fate decide. You know.
Well, yeah. Give me a roll then.
He's already injured. I'm gonna roll a very biased d20.
Yeah, fine. Yeah.
3.
Boom.
Jesus.
Yeah. Well.
You lift him and you throw him out, and you see more or less his injured shoulder and his face collide with the surface of the earth simultaneously. He hasn't been tied up, he's been untied, but he's, by this point in the way that you've held him, he's not putting in any resistance. He's well fatigued. He's knackered and beaten up and next to weeping. And he comes down and lies there, riding off and coming past this person. He doesn't move before you go around a bend, and he comes out of sight there.
Poor little bugger. Oh well. That's what they get for not attacking us.
That's what you get for being on the side of the road in your tent.
Pretty much.
And then
where they belong.
I mean,
camping legally on your own tribal land.
I say we should, send him to the authorities, but I totally threw a spear at one of them unprovoked.
Yeah. Didn't think of that. It's more kind of, disembodied justice.
Yeah.
Preemptive justice.
Yeah. I'm George Bush. That was all it was.
Yeah. So you can carry on through this, and by this point, because you've been on the road for a couple of hours, by the time you turn and Hector sees this first starting to rise past you, the horizon, on the next lift over the ground, the horizon is far further and a little bit higher than you've been seeing before. And although the land here is a bit wetter, and the dawn, the morning mists have started to lift as the sun comes up and on, the air is clearing up enough that you can see the hills starting to rise that should lead you to Iron on the far side. And things are coming up and arising. You haven't seen a structure now since you've passed the tent, and things are, less civilized. This isn't even starting to feel like farmland anymore. You haven't seen so much in the way of enclosure because the land is now more undulating. And as I say, there are these crops of glistening, shimmering, kind of almost twisting static rock that do pop up from here and there. Cairns and tors, dot both the sides of the road that maybe road travelers have put together to demarcate, especially junctions and splits, because they, there are side little paths and roads to be walked rather than driven, steep, steep gullies that you could walk up and down, which will lead down to waterways and standing bodies of water. Are kind of marked by built-up piles of sand, by built-up piles of stone, and animals do walk through the dark. You can see, not through the dark, through the grass and through the moorland either side of you. There are tall, long-legged creatures that are spindling their way through the dusty moor, and then large rodents on the sides of the roads, dipping in and out of cover, hiding behind rocks. They creep and they crawl. Overhead there are birds yet, and there are. Can I get perception rolls from everybody?
Certainly.
Yeah, regarding to, and if you are skilled with nature or anything like that.
Uh,
Okay, Gex has got a 20. Okay, cool.
20.
Sam's got a 20 as well. Yeah. Gavin, would you like to roll as well?
Is that a
Sorry,
player? Is that an intrusion or something?
It is a major effect.
Sorry, could you say that last bit again? Sorry.
Would you
I
roll
was
a perception
having
roll?
Oh, okay. Well, I suck at
That's all,
that.
yeah.
So let's roll a 3. Yeah,
It's fine.
No,
Okay,
there's
so-
another one.
it's 2 in a row.
2 in a row.
Oh,
That's 401 chance.
That's okay. Well, these fellas have rolled 20s, so
Well, yeah, I'm in the back of the cart, realizing that there's a good chance that man didn't live,
and you've
and I'm
yeah.
kind of overcome with the gross injustice of it all. As bad a man he was still young. He didn't deserve the arbitrary death that may have been. So I'm kind of distracted.
There is for the other two of you, I think even more so for Gex, because I think you rolled a 20 coming out of
I am
Arilla on the
also
perception
trained in
check as well.
perception.
Yeah, but I think the major effect here is going to catch your eye here. But there is there are birds overhead, and there are birds that, as I say, if you'll recall, coming out of Arilla, there were a number of animals which seemed to be flying south out of the city and flying overhead. And Sam, you are aware in particular that actually there seems to be more birds in the air and a greater density, a mixture of species, but a greater density than there were even an hour before, even leaving Tanner's. There are more birds now than there were for the rest of the morning, and that could be just that the morning has started to brighten up. You're past the dawn chorus where they'll be staying in roosts and they'll be out looking for food, but realistically there isn't that much in terms of trees here. There are clouds of insects to feed on, but these things are traveling fairly fast. Both of you catch your eye in particular on one quite large, and when I say quite large, I'm going to say maybe the size of a large seagull, something like that, a white bird, and this thing is pulling large circles around you. It's quite high up, but it definitely does catch your eye. And then, Gex, you remember something like this. Birds like this, plural, flying in a dispersed flock when you left Arilla before.
Hey guys, I saw loads of those birds. Blah blah blah.
Yeah. And Sam and Gex, you can both see this thing, flying distinctly around you and above you now.
Looks a bit sus.
I'll note
well,
something about predators on the road and vultures and that type of thing, and then I'll just kind of go back to my moping.
Yes, that's worrying,
Mm.
to say the least.
Yeah.
Give me 2 seconds. Sorry, I'm just checking something, and I'm going to write something down.
We're being watched, I'm going to say.
Seems like. Hopefully not for the last few hours.
Yeah. Very true.
It's going to probably, the pace that you're going, the landscapes that you're going through, you are going to be on flattish, and when I say flattish, it is still undulating, it is still going up and down. There is you are crossing a lot of contours in terms of rise and fall, and going through small little valleys and over small little hills. Probably going to be an hour or so on this main road. Let's say 90 minutes on this main road at the pace you're going before you come into a steady climb into the mountain pathways. And from there, things are going to be even narrower. And now you're at a point where sometimes you've got miles of visibility, and sometimes it's down to not quite meters, but you can see, just the dip that you're in. So things are coming and going a fair bit. The sky is still nice and clear, and you do have the option to break off the road if you wanted to, although pace would be slower there.
Well, we're being watched from the sky, so unless it's a forest, what's the point? We're better off continuing on our.
If we are being watched, maybe taking a. No, there's still nowhere we go.
Yeah.
Harder for them to catch us though if we're not on the road.
Jed, I'd like to do 10 minutes of my recovery while in the back.
Yeah, that's fine.
Or
yeah.
in fact, even an hour and 10 minutes, if that's possible, while in the back of the cart. Is that too long?
So over that time, yeah, you're absolutely fine to. So have you still got your first one as well, or you can make 2 recovery rolls there?
No, I
So
had my first one, so I'd like to make my 10-minute one and my 1-hour one.
Spend the 10-minute one for the moment.
Okay.
So it's very easy for you to spend 10 minits, in the time that I've been talking and these fellas have been looking at birds and you've been mulling over your grief at having thrown a man to his death.
Right?
It would be a
like
D6.
Same as well.
Yeah, but you can spend them if you've all still got your 1 action. Spend that first, because that's a matter of seconds, and so you can roll that many D6s, and we'll let you ride on.
Plus something again, or is it just the straight D6s?
Is it plus your tier?
Oh, yeah,
I think it's plus your tier.
It's plus 1.
Oh, yeah,
So I get an extra
plus 1. Cool.
Yeah.
12. So 1, 2, 3.
So I got 5, and I put it all into intellect.
You've spent quite a lot of that already, haven't you? And that's the one that you've
Yeah, I got all of mine back. I got 12.
How did you get 12?
I rolled a 6 and a 4, plus the 2 tiers.
Oh, you had the 1 action. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I forgot about that. Cool.
Yeah. Bear with me. Right. Okay. Yeah. Cool. But actually, I tell you what. Would anybody like to do anything while they are riding on? Would you like to respond in any way to perhaps what you've noticed flying over you, perhaps what you encountered at the camp behind you?
I would just like to keep an eye on the bird and see if I can see it for the whole.
Well, as I say, the air is busy almost with life. As you can ascertain, is the ground around you. You are in a fauna rich environment, although a lot of it is small enough to be well hidden. And every so often you will see birds dip and dive, either whether that is in and out of clouds of insects or down into the ground, perhaps trying to strike at rodents or small animals running through, lizards perhaps.
Well, there's not much we can do about what we see above.
No, just sort of watch it.
Yeah, this one white gull is staying high enough that you probably couldn't reliably hit it with a bow or a crossbow.
Yeah.
And it is circling, a fairly broad circle around you, and it could be a coincidence, but it's seems unlikely. And the pace that you're going at, it seems now, after 20 minutes of riding on, it's held a pretty decent range around you. It's kept a circle around you. If you don't want to do anything more, you are welcome to make your 1-hour recovery rolls as well.
I will do that.
I will do that.
If you're going to just sit and ride for the hour.
Yes.
There's another 4, so that's 5 points.
So yeah,
1, 2.
1, 2.
Yeah, I'm back up to max.
Almost max. Sam, you have 4 XP. You can do an upgrade.
I will. I will do it at the end when we're next in a resting situation.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. I assume we have to do it when we're in a. I can't just do it on the fly.
Honestly, there's no specific rule about that, and you are effectively resting now. So if you want to spend the time while you are recovering and while you are looking around you and being vigilant,
okay.
talk me through what you do. But
I want to spend 4 of my XP points in becoming trained in throwing spears.
Let me check
Well-
this for you, because that would be trained in speed attacks rather than it being that specific thing. And there may be, I think, a rule about
I'm just going to get a beer.
you
I
can.
have one of
Mhm.
my, 2 of my pieces of equipment were books of knowledge. And in myself and Hector's linked kind of backstory, some of my books of knowledge are probably like ninja scrolls, scrolls of martial combat. And I'm happy if Arnold wants to like look through them to kind of just for a color thing or a story thing. I don't mind.
Sounds good. Well, I've been throwing spears a lot, so I'd like to get fairly proficient at throwing spears. Just as a flavour thing, really, isn't it?
Yeah, you could tie some rope along the back of a spear and start chucking it, and
Yeah.
from the back of the cart and pull it
Gi-
back, and yeah.
Give me 2 seconds, fella, just because I want to sort something out here, and then I'm going to actually check the ruling on that. Whether it is going to be a thing that's limited by type for you, Sam, because of something. But I'll be right back with you if that's all right. So I'm going to be away from my mic for just a moment. Right. Okay. Right. So with regards to spending those points, so what I'm going to do is the core book. The book page is 128. The PDF page is 130. It says you can spend it. Choose one skill other than attacks or defense, such as climbing, jumping, persuading, blah 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 blah. However,
Okay.
in the interest of being a really cool GM, and because I understand why it's important for the character, because you've been doing a lot of that, I'm going to give you the option. You can spend the 4 points and become trained specifically in attacks with spears.
Yes.
Rather than it being something general like just being trained in speed attacks or being trained in, you know what I mean, being trained in speed attacks or being trained in certain defenses and things like that, which some people can do. You can be trained in just spears. Your other option there is you can take a point of edge, or you can just put 4 points into your stat pools.
How much does taking a point of edge cost?
So it's the same. It's the same cost of in XP, but if you put a point in speed edge, that then reduces the cost of effort by 1.
You could also get an extra tier of effort, right?
Yeah, he was
Can you
saying,
get
no?
the
You
extra
could
point of
apply-
effort? Yeah. Okay.
Well,
Yeah.
you
So
have
extra
to
effort is
tier
a thing,
2
yeah.
for
So
that.
then you could apply 2 levels of effort, but then
No,
Yeah.
isn't effort limited by the tier your character is?
No, so effort is part
can do
of
it
this
once
progression.
on this thing, these
Extra effort is a thing. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. This is the ticks underneath there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay. Sorry, I get it.
In which case, I think I'll go for the extra effort. So I
You'll
can
take
use-
extra effort, so you can put 2 points of effort into
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, that's more useful.
You'll still have to spend like,
Yes, that doesn't matter
6
because it's
points or
it's
whatever.
way more
points.
useful, isn't it?
but if you're using your intellect, you can. One of those will be 1 less, so it will cost you 5 to do 2 levels of effort.
Yes,
believe,
I get
instead of
I get the
6.
theory, but it'll definitely be more useful in more situations than
Not
just
4 to do 2 levels of effort?
I
Or in fact 2, because your effort's now 2, so therefore to put effort, or sorry, your edge is now 2, so therefore to put effort
Well,
into
that's if
something
you
underneath
increase
is
the
1.
edge
If
to 2.
he can either put his edge up or his effort up.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I can just use it twice. So if I used it twice on my one that I already have edge in,
Oh, I understand.
it will cost 4, or if I don't have edge in it, will cost 6. Is that right?
But if
I'm
you get
gonna say
speed edge.
Or
yes.
close enough.
But if
Yeah.
you get the speed edge, it will make you better with spears.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. That would be the kind of easiest way to just make yourself generally better with spears, is to do that if you're ready, if you're happy constantly applying the speed. Your speed pool isn't great, so another thing you could do is just put 4 points in speed.
No, I don't want to do that.
Okay. Yeah, you can take an extra point of effort.
Spears is either might or speed, isn't it? Chucking spears is speed.
Yeah. So chucking them,
Oh.
yeah, you can.
I don't know if you can say chucking spears anymore, lads.
Oh, come on.
No, you just can't call someone a spear chucker.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's it.
Can't
God, that's
believe you
so
said that, Jed.
Jesus.
The mates I game with in real life have totally convinced their 14-year-old daughter that I'm racist.
Oh.
Just because of all these things. Don't worry about Gav, he's just racist. And they just let it slide with a
All
deadpan
racist
face.
Gav.
Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't mind, but that was the girl I gave all my D&D books to because she was going to start running a game with her mates, and it was like, yeah, next generation, join the clan.
Yeah.
Join the yeah.
Oh man, yeah. Because
Yeah.
anytime somebody says, "What color do you want to be?" and I'll be black, and it's like you can't say it. Yeah. Anyway,
Yes, I think you're right. I'll spend it for a point in edge in speed.
Yep, cool. So make sure that
Um,
gets ticked off in the move to perfection.
yeah.
Yep.
So that makes your pool more beneficial when you're
0 cards. 1,
Cool.
2, 3, 4.
Getting better.
And we'll take those. And yeah, you've spent the time kind of, as we've said, kind of getting the
Getting
feel
used
of
to it.
these spears, getting used to them, making sure, remembering how it is to move fast, to move in a fight.
How it is to
You
chuck
spent quite a
things.
while.
Tie
It's
one
the
to a
hit.
rope and repeatedly throw it off the back of the cart and pull it back in order to practice.
Yep, exactly.
Oh my god, that guy looks funny. Jesus, size of his ears.
size of his nose.
He could stretch those fuckers.
Oof.
Those earlobes.
They are pretty fucking epic, yeah.
Oh, thank God. Okay, got the one out of the way. Except for the other one, Arnold.
Yeah, it'll be back to haunt you.
That give me 2 seconds more, and I will. So you spend, a little bit more than an hour following along the road, and you're aware, as I say, of different paths, different routes that you could take through this moorland, although they wouldn't be taking you in the direction that you're going. And then what you become more and more aware of coming ahead of yourselves is a convergence of roads. So other roads that have come through Glaive, other roads that have come from even from as far as Pytheron Empire or the southwestern parts of Anquan are kind of starting to converge in this area, and things do seem to come to a particular point at the base of the hills that we've been leading towards. And although some join on next to you and you do go past some, they aren't junctions, so to speak, because the traffic isn't high enough. There are other riders on the road by this point. You do pass other people coming. For the first time in the day, you pass other people riding in the opposite direction.
You know what? Being sunk into a sort of a defeatist, not defeatist, but a self-pitying attitude, I'm going to be warning those other people about the olive drabbed Nalgena.
Nalgena, yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that there's Nalgena, 8 miles to the north. Be careful, they're trying to take people's money.
Oh, bless you, traveller.
And I'll be very much doing that to everyone we pass. Unless obviously they're wearing olive drab.
In which case I'll be spearing them.
I'll be kidnapping and torturing. No.
So earlier
Tragedy.
on, I burst out laughing because I placed some spikes down outside the other far side of the new bridge, Gav, and Bloody's friend ran straight into them.
Oh.
He was just running into the doorway, and I've just placed some spikes that I didn't see him, and just ran straight to the spikes I placed. It made me chuckle. That's what you get for joining our server.
Yeah, good. And where a lot of these roads start to merge, and near the foot of these hills, it's more or less at the point where from there on out you're going to have hours of incline and gain and going up and up and up.
I'll walk beside Archibald for this.
There is one more roadhouse, and this, the sign indicates this is the Lowland Inn. And it is, as much as Tanner's was occupied, as much as the quiet corner was occupied by travelers on the road, the Lowland Inn is a bit quieter. It's a little less busy, but you can see in the same way that it's going to have just as many people. This is the same kind of ritual spot, the same kind of landmark and waypoint for people to stop and go. Now you've only been traveling for this is late morning or mid morning really for you.
On the fourth day, isn't it?
Yes,
from leaving Arilla.
Is it the fourth day or your third?
Don't really
I think
know.
I think this is your third day. You've had 2 nights out. You had a night in Senston and a night at Tanner's.
Oh yeah, sounds about right.
Okay, so that's really good pace. And
Yeah.
well, I do dread ignoring all the GM's prompts. We are being paid to deliver something from A to B, and 3 days of hardship for 150 shins is far better than 4 days in a fight.
That was our first payment, and we're getting more than that when we get to the end, I think.
That's true.
350, wasn't
it was another 150, I think.
I don't remember.
Anyway, but my point is, like, how far past the Nyan Inn or the Ion Inn? What was this place called?
Iron?
Iron.
This one is the Lowland Inn that you're
the
at now.
Lowland
So
Inn.
how
Sorry, I'm
close
just
to
taking
Iron
notes here.
are we, you mean?
Are we? Yes.
So based on the maps and the kind of route that you've seen, basically it is the other side of the hills that you're at the foot of now. So if you're looking at a couple of hours up, probably about the same amount of time on traverse and descent, you should be able to be in town by if you push on into, certainly you'll be on the edge of town by evening. You'll maybe find somewhere to stay. If you can get into town, if you push into the night a little bit.
If we stop for an hour or two here, rest Archibald, get ourselves and him fed and watered, and then traverse through the night, would that sound unreasonable?
Well, if we are being watched, any delay might lead them to lead whoever is watching us to set up an ambush ahead of us. So
What makes you think we're being watched?
we were being
Birds.
watched by the bird, the large white bird that was circling us. Which
Don't
we
be
saw.
paranoid.
But if someone is using that to track us and then we delay,
But that could be a bird of prey. That could be... The birds follow the roads.
you have a point. I don't know. It just seems a little suspect to me.
I'll be looking up for this bird
And
after dark.
I'd rather be ambushed in the evening than in pitch black.
Well, we'll have torches ready. What's the
I'm not
common light
convinced.
source in this world? Are we talking lanterns or like literally old school fantasy torches or?
So there are all of these things. So there will be lanterns placed in places, and you'll have been able to pick these things up. Anywhere that will sell supplies will sell you oil for this sort of thing, or you can set yourself up with handheld torches that will burn. They will be easier to light, and they will burn maybe less brightly, but in a more controllable way. In a more easily lit way. And there are also various Numenera which do produce light. You've passed. Did any of you get anything like a glow globe?
No, I didn't.
But this will be something that in character you will have encountered. Differing people having glow globes is a common term for this. Yeah, so there are Numenera which produce light in different ways, and whether this is something that is, in a meta way, effectively just a torch, or effectively just a glow stick, or effectively just a way of making something glow in the dark or what have you. These are not uncommon. And in fact, yeah, I mean, when you were looking at the equipment lists at the start, a glow globe is something that you can have and buy quite easily when you were making characters before.
Oh, in that case, let me check my character sheet, because that might be something I have. No, I have a few candles. Okay, so would it be... I'm going to go into the inn, the Lowland Inn, but literally just in order to go up to the bar and see if they would have either lanterns or torches or something like that for sale.
And you go into the bar there, and
And in
the
fact, I'll be because I've no charm, persuasion, or etiquette. I will literally have coins in my hand, and I will say, 2 lanterns, please.
guy looks at you and sighs and goes, "Supplies are over there," and he points to a booth at the corner of the room. And rather than being an open bar, there is a kind of caged booth with a person in a smart looking shirt behind it.
All right, I'll turn myself around and go over to them. 2 lanterns, please. We're in a rush.
And an enthusiastic kind of skinny young fella says, "Oh, okay, yep," and he turns back and goes back
And
behind.
oil. And oil. Don't forget
oil.
the oil.
Oil, yep, okay, yep, and brings
beer.
up. He comes up and he's got the lanterns in his hand, and he hears you say this and goes, juggles up these things.
Tell
and
me
he's
it's the other counter.
Well, yeah, beers over at the other beers in the bar. But I can do your lanterns. 2 lanterns.
Slam down whatever I had in my hand. I'll be back, and I'll go back to the beer and get like a little cask, with like a 10-liter thing you could pick up with one hand. Yeah. And then I'll kind of bounce between them in a bad mood and kind of shuffling through whatever folk are there and try gather all the supplies we need for pushing on. Not really engaging.
I'll charge you a shin for all that, to be honest.
Well, that's very generous considering I think we paid 5 shins for dinner and drinks earlier. Okay, cool.
3.
Shin paid.
Yeah, and you're able to get out of there pretty easily, pretty quickly.
So 2 lanterns. We'll hold the beer negligible. 2 lanterns.
Yeah. 2 lanterns and a whole bunch of oil.
You sling one on the front of the cart, maybe like a headlight.
Well, what I'll do is I'll fill them both up.
Presence.
Yeah, I'll fill them both up, and I'll hand one to Hector, and I suppose I'll keep one near me in the back of the cart, unlit.
Cool.
You okay going through the night, Hector? How is Archibald?
Looks alright, as far as I can tell. How is Archibald? How does Archibald look?
Give me a roll.
Perception.
He's not edgy anymore.
Can
is
I
he?
perceive?
In fact,
his
I'll go
mood?
up to. Yeah, while Hector's doing that, I'll go up to the front of Archibald and kind of pat his snout or whatever, and do some sort of attempted empathy with him.
So the Anine, as you've pulled up on it, has found some dried grass to stick its head into, and is greedily kind of chomping away at what it rightfully recognizes as food that it can just have. You come up and you kind of pat on the thing, and he doesn't seem to jitter. He doesn't kind of flick and twitch as you do this anymore, and he seems a bit more comfortable around the broader roads, that sort of thing. However, as soon as you start to move again, and as soon as you pull his head away from the trough, he's then looking up. This thing has a sense of what a road is, obviously, and it is looking up at the hills and tracking its head back and forth into what bits of road it can see as well as you.
Okay. As an aside to kind of distract me and also to better understand the concept of, traveling the road, and these creatures are obviously doing it their entire lives and they're trained to do it. Can I spend a point of XP to understand exactly what's making this guy different, I suppose, than what he was when he left Gorilla? Like, I could get the understanding that it's the tighter roads, maybe the trees nearer him, therefore allowing predators to hide. But is he panicked from what's in the air? Is he panicked by being in lowlands surrounded by mountains? Or
I will get you to make me a roll first, just to see if you can kind of work that out.
okay, if it's an intellect roll, I'm gonna ease it.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
As a 4.
So I tell you what, I'm inclined
to spend the XP. If it's under 6, I can auto.
Yeah, I'm inclined to get you to trying to think about spending the XP to work that out and seeing if this is something that actually to try and get to know this thing. And actually, what I might do is see if you spend 2 points of XP, I will give you a more permanent bond with this particular Anine, so that you can get something actually in the, you've spent these days with him, you've get quite a sense of his mood, and this is just a specific thing to this particular creature rather than this species or animals in general.
Okay, done. Under
to get more of an
followers, I am writing down friend of Archibald.
Archibald, yeah. So that's fine. What I will say is, in particular, this one doesn't seem to like not having line of sight, and so being in areas where it's unfamiliar terrain, but B, where it can't pick and plan its route. This is something that while you were out, first of all, out of the gate, out of the stables, it was head forward, and it has always had its head pointed not where the road immediately in front of it is, but where the road is going. So even if you were coming up to a corner, it was looking ahead and around the corner well before it got to it, well before its shoulders started to follow where its neck was pointed. And so you kind of get the feeling from this that then A, not knowing the road, as I say, and B, not being able to see where it wants to go, not being able to plan its actions and pick its directions and anticipate turns, anticipate what's going on, makes this particular Anine nervous. That isn't, from your experience, necessarily all Anine, but Archibald in particular wants to know what's coming next.
Okay, well, that makes a huge amount of sense to me. So, but instead of walking 20 feet behind the cart, what I'm going to do is walk 30 or 40 feet in front. So maybe if he does get a bit jittery, he can see where I'm going. Does that make sense? So he kind of has some point of reference in the future, or, in his forward direction.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's it. There's your 2 XP.
Yeah, great. I've taken those. They were back over here, so that's fine. And do you want to get back up on the road then?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, my thinking is we just, knuckle down, get the job done, relax afterwards.
Yeah, I'm 100% in agreement with that theory. Gav, where's your toolbox now?
It's here. It's in my satchel, and I throw the satchel up on the back of the cart.
No, not that toolbox. Doesn't matter. That was the address to the person, not the
yeah. Sorry.
not the
Okay,
it's okay. I've got it.
It's the middle one in the tree shack thing. Yeah.
Sorry, just getting a bit of drink down here, and it's going the wrong way.
Delicious.
Yeah, it's really good. So the beginning of the climb is demarcated by 2 of the cairns that you've seen throughout the moorland. Anywhere that paths seem to converge, anything that directions seem to change. Somebody, whether it's the locals, whether it's somebody long since forgotten, has built stone cairns, and these things are well established, and 2 very large ones demarcate the beginning of the climb up into the hills past the Lowland Inn. And the road becomes instantly, not much steeper than anything you've done coming through the moor, but you get that very quickly, that sense of being on a long hill and climbing up. And it changes direction quickly, so that, rather than heading directly south, you're going across the hill rather than straight up. If you were to go straight up, you would be climbing. You as a person would be hands and feet very quickly there, because this is, has the potential to be very steep. But you're going to be going up, by the time you've covered a mile on this road, you're going to have gained 200 or 300 meters on there, and then quickly you're going to be going up, and there are hills within hills within hills, and so it isn't a persistent climb, but you do come into areas of little flat where you can make quite a bit of ground, but things twist and they turn, and so even areas that are slightly flat, you are turning, and you're not able to hold a straight line for very long there. And by the time you are, let's say, 200 or 300 meters up above the Lowland Inn, the road has become quite narrow. Something coming the other side has to brush against the edge and risk dropping.
It's like snow pass.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly it. So things have become instantly quite narrow, instantly slightly treacherous. Instantly, the stones are slightly loose, and stepping in the wrong spot, especially for you, Gav, who you are putting your feet here and there between rocks, it will send something kicking and bouncing down the side of these hills.
If I feel it would be easier and maybe even draw attention away from the cart, I'll go back to the cart and get one of the lanterns and light it and use that 30 or 40 feet ahead of me so I can spot any impasses in the trail, or I can distract anyone waiting for us.
It's only late morning, so you're not going to need the visibility there.
Isn't it evening or
Oh,
afternoon?
sorry. No, I thought it was late evening. Like, I thought we were
No,
riding into the night.
So you didn't spend very long at the inn.
Yeah, but I thought the inn was at 7 p.m.
So you were getting to the inn in late morning. As I say, it was.
Oh, sorry, I've the time
It's
mixed
like
up then.
midday, early afternoon.
Yeah, let's
Okay,
say
yeah.
if you were going at a slow pace, even then it's only half a day's travel between Tanner's and the Lowland Inn.
Get you. Okay,
But
cool.
but yeah, so to come through the moor there has been a few hours.
Yeah.
But what I was saying is, if you were, according to your plans, according to the maps that you have, to cross the hills and get down into Iron, you're going to be doing that into the night, because it's going to take you quite a bit of time. Then it's going to take you at least the rest of the day by your plan.
Understand. Okay, well, yeah. Go ahead. As planned. If it does get too dark or too dodgy, or if Archibald's getting too agitated, I'll give him some sort of light to focus on,
All right.
But the twisting of the road is like I say, that's the thing that's difficult. There are hairpoint turns, and even between the Anine who wants to plan his moves, the Anine who is adept at turning corners, doing that even with the short reins on the cart, then becomes difficult with the length of the thing. The cart itself is, it's about 12 foot long. It's about 3 or 4 meters long, and twisting that around corners then starts to become more difficult. And it's amazing how this is, it's very clear this is the choke point on what has already been quite a choky, quite a bottlenecky major road between the two major cities of Milave. This is going to be the point that the couriers, the caravan guards, the merchants, that they earn their shins. Give me 2 seconds. But you do make time, you do make pace, and you are rewarded after an hour with a very nice view north
Lovely.
over across the plains of Milave, and suddenly you can see further than you've been able to see for days. You can see, with the midday light coming down upon you, you can see clear across the moor. You can see well on the way to what you might even surmise would be smoke coming from the chimneys of Tanner's Roadhouse that was, let's say maybe even 4 hours ride away from you there. And that's some distance, and past that you're getting past the kind of shimmering light and the way that things are passing by you. You're getting past what you'll be able to see, but the undulation of the land, the waterways coming through the moor, the lakes and the like, and past where you'd think Tanner's would be, you can see then definitely a shimmering body of water, which is probably the lake nearby Hurlstad, and the forestry and the farmlands beyond that. Just kind of gives its way into a great open plain that's clearly very, as I say, kind of vast and sprawling and bounteous to the farmers of Milave there between the two lands. So that's a nice feeling. The The rocks after this point start to close in, and so there are sections of this road then where you start to leave the exposed switchbacks and you head more into road which is cut into the hill, and you are still going upwards, but you are finding yourselves walking along the bodies of ravine, for want of a better word, cracks in the rock. Great pillars are emerging to your northern side, as well as before you and around you, and you are passing and finding your way up gullies and along what might have been the path of least resistance for a running piece of river, and is somewhat difficult to make on foot now by this point. There is a level of steepness, and I think you can all imagine, again, having spent time on the road now, that this would be difficult to make. You imagine Bill with his cart full of sand and expensive rock coming this way, and it being really quite a challenge. Quite a work of logistics to move a cart through such steepness. Archibald doesn't appear to be struggling too much with the weight of things and makes fairly steady pace, but is understandably now anxious at the tightness of the terrain and the lack of distant visibility as you move between cracks and rocks. There is other traffic though, and things are starting to make their way down the hill. And after a few minutes, at some point somebody does wave, and they wave at you that's in a way that might indicate they want to stop. Gav, are you walking ahead of them?
Yes, I'll have my shield strung across my back, as I don't normally do, but it's kind of to glint whatever moonlight and stars or eventually, and to give Archibald a focal point. But yes, I am.
So this is a person dressed in what might at first glance appear to be a kind of straw poncho. They've got kind of knitted together straw, and they wave down at you and say, going over the hills, are we?
I'll kind of the nod of the head and the tip of the cap that I don't actually have on, having a shaved head.
Tug
And
your forelock that doesn't exist.
exactly, and it's like yes, it's been years since I've taken these roads.
Oh, well, so you enjoy the view from the top then?
Yeah.
And he carries on riding onwards.
All right, that's not a suspicious cackle laugh. That's more.
No, it's just a kind of jolly farmer laugh sort of thing.
Okay, yeah. All right. Well, I'll just shout back to Archibald. It's all safe up ahead, and I'll keep plodding on. Local man coming through, kind of thing. I'll shout after.
Yeah, that's kind of that vibe.
I'll give them a little bit of warning, so
I don't
Arnold
spear him.
doesn't kill him outright like a fucking murder hobo. Yeah.
A murder hobo.
I don't spear everybody, just those that deserve it.
Those that.
What you do notice about this guy as he's driving past you, he has the guy's face is craggy to the extent that his eyes are more or less sunken back behind a fat forehead and big cheeks, and he's grinning with this. You can make out maybe 2 or 3 teeth in the fella's mouth, but he has this big red grin, with between gums and burst blood vessels in his cheeks from time in the wind and time on the wine. And so this fella is mostly smile in his face, and you'd get the impression that whatever news he gave you would sound jollier than it actually is, maybe.
Yeah.
He's very happy. Very happy to be going downhill rather than up, maybe.
Slightly ominous.
Spoken Satosh, yeah.
Yeah, certainly not a Satosh because he actually has a face.
Okay, well, we'll heed that. Well, I didn't hear it. I'll nod at the guys who walks past, I guess.
I will actually tip my cap.
Yeah.
Because
Fine.
I can.
And you get that same kind of jolly kind of laugh as you're riding up past there.
I can't spare it.
I think you can.
I'm not gonna.
It's not very law
But
abiding.
I want to. Yeah, I'm gonna be law abiding. So.
Pretty sure the laws of the
And-
land are against that. Carry on. Sorry.
There are laws against spearing random farmers,
Good to know.
I think. And as you are coming up, you're coming up towards another kind of, not a summit, but a false summit, an area where you know that the land will be a little bit flatter up past this next section. And you're riding up on this, and Gav, you are leading the way, and so you will get the first glimpse of what lies up before you. But before I do that, I'm going to get you, not so much, but Sam and Gex to roll me perception checks one more time, if that's all right.
Yes.
But I am trained.
Yeah.
For what it's worth.
19.
19's much
I'll
better.
do it.
2, even with the training, is not quite enough. If we add 3 to that, it's effectively still a 5, so that's not
Yep.
great. Sam, you realise that the large gull that was flying over the top of you haven't seen since you left the inn. You were distracted briefly at the Lowland Inn, and you haven't seen it since. But there are, as I said, there are a whole host of birds, and there are a number of birds which seem to be kind of clustering above the next flat-landed area. Gav, you are leading the way, and so Brother Elias is first over this crest of land, and you come across an area where most of the hill that you've been coming up has been bare rock. And so you've been walking on, as I say, kind of shale almost, and well-trodden rock with compacted dirt and exposed granite. And this granite has an especial kind of twinkle to it, to the point that the crystalline forms in it shift and shimmer in the late morning light. Things really, really catch the sky of it. You come up onto this next section and are surprised to see very green grass, almost unseasonably green grass, and flowers. You kind of these are, I don't know whether you want to call them specifically things like Edelweiss, but they are mountainous looking flowers, white flowers and things dotted here and there and around, and a pool of quite lush, quite blue looking water. This is an altogether unseasonable scene. If you remember, I've been describing this as being early winter, late autumn, and this scene that you come across here, which, as I say, there are a lot of birds flying over the top, but also very, very green grass and blooming flowers, and a sparkling pool of water on this next flat section. And the path, you can see the path kind of goes around the edge of the grass, and you can see exactly where it goes into what would be another crack in the rock, or another gap in the rock on the far side, leading to another switchback and another steady climb. But this area is going to be, let's say, kind of maybe 200 meters across, and it's certainly an area where if you were to make a mountain camp or something like that, this would be an ideal place to pick, probably.
Okay, well, at the start of this kind of vista, I'll go to the side of the road. I want to just realizing the symmetry is not quite the word. The similarity between these rocks and maybe my own form.
Sure, yeah.
With the shivering kind of striations of light, I'll place a hand on one of these rocks just to see if I get anything back from it. I'll kind of take in the pool, look at the greenness of the grass, realize the potential ambush. The high,
Yeah.
the road,
So there are,
switchback road that with the high sides is that just worries me as well. And kind of absorbing all that might be me from the landscape, I will push ahead, maybe push on 20 or 30 feet ahead of where I last was with Archibald. And at this stage, it being later evening, even though it's not dark yet, what I'm going to do is stop and light the torch.
It's
light the
maybe
lantern.
early afternoon now.
Oh,
so
okay.
You've been climbing for a couple of hours, and you've climbed through midday, but we're not getting into evening really yet.
Oh, in that case, I won't bother with the light, and I will take the shield from my back, place it on my left
Really
arm, which I
obsessed
assume
with
is
the game
way
now.
stronger than my right arm, and yeah,
Wanking
just push
hand.
on.
Sorry, Gex.
It's my
I said it's
wanking
his
hand.
wanking hand.
That's my shield
Yeah.
arm, and because I'm a defender of the people, my shield arm is stronger than my striking arm. That's the way I see it, opposed to Arnold's murdering arm.
Yes, my murdering arm is very strong. I'm just imagining that dude who has the really muscly arm and what was that in? Guy throws the spear. Might be Family Guy or some shit like that.
Idea. So yeah, so I'll just push on ahead until something happens.
Yeah,
I
and
need to take a quick loo break. I'll be back in
Yeah,
10 seconds.
sure.
Same.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Sam, do you want to go piss?
No, but I do want a drink. Can I have a drink?
Yeah, I'm going to get a drink of water as well.
Am I allowed a drink? Thanks, Dad.
I'm back.
Hello there.
Hello there.
I'm looking forward to that series.
Yeah. Fucking apparently it's going to Rianne and she's terrible at fact checking. Hayden Christensen's coming back as Darth Vader.
Yep, that's been rumoured. I think it's been confirmed.
Which would be cool. I mean, like, he's a terrible actor, but like he's had 16 years he could have learned.
He's not that bad.
He didn't. No, he is a terrible actor.
No, he was terrible. Absolutely terrible.
I hear he doesn't like the seaside. Is that it? No, he doesn't like sand.
It's coarse and rough and gets at all the wrong places. That film still better than The Last Jedi.
Whoa, steady on now.
Oh man, but yeah, whatever. Okay.
Yeah, worst one.
Okay, so Gav, you make your way through this kind of meadow area. Looking around you, I will get you to make one more perception roll, please.
Motherfucker. First one I've ever passed.
Cool. All right, that's much better. Yeah, your kind of tactical instincts are quite good here, and your sense of, if you were going to ambush somebody, this would be a good place for it. It's because you've got a flat area with actually quite good visibility. You've got a distinctive area that people will have to move from and to, and also you've got high-sided cliffs with a very craggy rock all up around that. So your sense of that sort of thing, like, of all of the places that you've been up since you've come up the hills there, that's been pretty kind of clear, is that you've got good ways to block that off, that sort of thing. You don't see anything moving around you so far, but you get this sense that you don't want to dawdle here, given the urgency of passing through and the knowledge that this might be bandit country,
Yeah. So we push on.
That said, you have seen the farmer kind of move up and through there already, and apparently unharmed. You're gonna move. You're gonna move straight through. And as I said, it's kind of 200. Yeah, about 200 meters across. The across flat ground on this kind of shelf on the side of the hill, and you're coming up to being, maybe 600 meters off the ground now. You are veering on mountainous height, and there's not that much further to go in terms of altitude, at least. Sam and Gex, you fellas creep up through here, and again you pass through this kind of pastoral scene, and there is a sense of on one side it being very idyllic, but everything that Gav's just noticed.
Sorry.
You're right.
Continue. Yeah, no, it was a big sneeze. Continue.
Okay, fine. I didn't hear the sneeze, so that's okay.
Yeah, the cut-off works really well for things like sneezes, but it was a humongous sneeze.
Good. Bless you.
Thank you.
Yeah, the same kind of sense of unease here, and there is a sense, especially with an 18, there is now a sense of having been watched. The suspicion that Gex and Sam got, earlier on with the bird flying overhead, Gav, you now do start to pick up on a little bit. Things are a bit quieter than they should. Maybe you can't hear the birds as well as you would like, and were things entirely idyllic, you're aware that there should be an insect biting at you or something scratching at your foot, and maybe things seem a little bit too perfect here and now. The rocks on the other side of this pasture are, they open into quite a narrow chasm. It's not going to be so narrow that you're not going to be able to pass any traffic coming on, but you're not going to have an awful lot of room to maneuver left or right, and there's certainly nowhere to break out of it. The walls of it are tens of meters high, they're maybe 20 meters high in some places, and there's only kind of shafts of daylight coming down through it. More significantly, they seem things aren't opened in a way that, things haven't opened in a way that would suggest that this is water running through here. There's not enough of an incline for this first bit for it to be a water course, and it's more like the ground has been cracked and pushed. Looking at the edges of the rock, you notice especially areas that seem like impact strikes have come against the side of the rock, and that match up, so that on the left and on the right of you passing through it, things match up, as though things have pushed these rocks apart rather than them being split through a natural what am I trying to say?
Yeah,
natural process of
elements,
erosion and natural processes of rockfall and things like that. This isn't an eroded gully. This is, you start to get the sense here, especially with an 18, that this is an artificial passageway. But regardless, you walk on through. This is now, at this point, the only way that you can see to go. And it's not before too long that you are making headway again, and you are out of the gully and creeping up and creeping up and creeping up steadily. And then coming into the afternoon, and as I say, this is at a point now where you've spent quite a bit of time moving up. You've gained a lot of ground. You've made steady pacing. Archibald in particular is not moving with the same speed and the same vigor, certainly not that he was a couple of days ago, but now even not that he was in the morning. You've gained a lot of ground and you've taken a lot of height here, but the wind has picked up, and traveling uphill at this pace with such cargo, or even Gav, you just walking, you are starting to feel the slap of the rocks under your feet, starting to feel the altitude in your knees. If you've walked, as you walk up a big hill, you start to feel it in your lungs, you start to feel it in your calves and in your knees as you ascend. What you also get is a sight of what could well be an actual summit in your eyes, and you start to pull up and come closer and closer. And you can feel it already. The descent is going to be, in some ways, the easiest few hours of your life, and at the same time the hardest and the most. Every single step is going to be slapping against your knees and thudding. This is going to be satisfying to get back. Yeah, it's going to be murder on the legs, but so satisfying when you get back down to flat ground and you can put your bum down on some grass or a good flat rock.
Well, at this stage where I kind of first come into sight of that possible summit, I'm gonna ease up and wait for Archibald and the cart to catch up, and I'm gonna take a loose rope or a rein or whatever I have and walk like literally 5-10 feet in front of Archibald with his reins, if there is a separate rope, to guide him, just in case.
Gex, you could give that up because you've been driving. Would you like to do that?
We could leave him without somebody on his back, and I can just hold him, or you could walk up front with me while we have Arnold in the back. Spears ready.
Yeah, I'll hop off the car and take a stroll, stretch my legs.
Just chilling, ready to stab if needed.
Yeah, looking to collect that second eyeball.
Mm-hmm.
And as you are gifted by one last view north over the plains of Glaive, back towards Arilla, and you can definitely firmly now make out Tanner's Roadhouse. You could make out all the way back onto the farming plains. Probably not as far as Senston, but certainly the view of the moorland sprawling over the ground that you've done for the day is really quite something for what was pretty bleak, pretty desolate. Just kind of grasses and waterways and mud. And this network now, this delta of roads kind of all falling together as though they were to a mouth of a river, concentrates entirely to this point. This is your view north. And your view south is rock and sky and rock and sky and rock and sky, until suddenly there is no more rock and it drops. And instead of a view down on the far side of the hills towards Iron and the afternoon lights, there is a new valley that you weren't expecting, which is deep and long, and the road winds down the hill on the far side and along the length of this valley. And you can tell even from where you are stood that the sides of this valley will be much too steep to take the cart up, and that is the way to go. And it's 10 to 10, and I am going to leave things there.
Okay,
Roger.
Ominous.
Yeah, sounds good. That was good. I like that, Jed.
Yeah,
that was nice.
Some narration. I hope that I've given you guys a bunch of tension there and made you nervous, and then utterly not paid it off at all.
Yeah, well, that's unfortunately the problem with 3-hour sessions.
Well,
sometimes
sure.
It takes longer to build it up, and then.
No, it's fine. It's something that I quite like doing as a GM, is convincing you that you're going to be ambushed and then not doing it.
Oh, we'll be ambushed at the start of the next section.
Well, maybe, yeah. Don't know.
Well,
you've been ambushed by scenery. Definitely not ambushing you, really, but.
Well, I do like I'm always a fan of a possible conflict that could come out different ways. Where we may be able to. We could have bought our way out of that. We could have talked our way out of that had we been better talkers.
I want to stay and kill them all and then capture
Or
them.
we could have.
Then we could have
Yeah,
figured
or
out what
we
their
could
fucking
have
game was.
absolutely
Or
killed them
perhaps
all.
They had
But
no game and they were just
I
bandits.
just like having the options there. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? It's good that we all draw weapons and nobody kind of has to die.
Yeah,
Sam made a decision.
except for the guy that you killed.
Yeah. Don't bring that guy.
Well, the
Except for
road
the
killed
guy
him.
He's
The road
fine.
killed
He's
him.
fine.
We freed him. The road
Gravity
killed
killed him.
him.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed that.
I'm glad. I'm good. Yeah, I that felt a bit sparse this session. It was kind of a bit that I wanted to get out of the way. The next couple of bits I've got quite a lot of notes on, and there should be a fair bit for you guys to do.
Cool.
The next couple of bits.
Yeah, I'd say your
of-
throat is pretty dry after that. It was a lot of exposition on your part.
Yeah, it's
but
all right.
That's
It was nice.
one.
Well told.
Yeah, it's one good way to do traveling. You skip over it, or you can tell a story.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I what I could have done is said you guys leave Orilla and you head south, and it takes you 3 or 4 days, and
Yeah,
you're
tell
there.
about bandits once.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, it works.
so I know that we've just spent, kind of 4 weeks traveling to the bit that I actually wanted to do, but we've learnt the system a fair bit, and you guys have gotten to know your characters a bit better, which is quite nice to get to do.
Yeah.
Been enjoyable.